our Fairgrounds Director, Greg Whitfield, for being here and leading us in our morning prayer.
We all bow our heads and pray. Dear Heavenly Father God, we thank you, Lord, for the grace and wisdom that you've given us. We thank you, Lord, for even our leaders with the passion to lead this county and the citizens of Harrison County. We ask that you would bless them with the strength and the grace to make the tough decisions that affect our everyday lives. We ask you to grant them with vision to push this county in the direction of progression. We love you, we praise you, and we thank you, Lord, for this day. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Greg. Sheriff, would you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance
to the flags of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to do number 2 first, because number 1 will take a little longer, I believe. We're considering an auto claim of Al Jones, our Senior Center Lineman Director, for rock damage to a vehicle windshield. Al, do you want to, and Neil?
How y'all doing, Slim?
Good morning.
Next to me standing Al Jones. May the 10th this year, about 4:07 in the evening time, he went out to his vehicle and discovered that the front windshield was broken. And the grass crew had been there that day weed eating and cutting grass. He said his windshield was fine in the morning when he got there because he had some business cards up on the window and looked at it. And then when he got in his car, he didn't go anywhere in his car. When he got back in his car that evening, the windshield had a crack horizontally and a crack vertically. And you could see where something had impacted on the front windshield. I talked to Ray over at Dunaway's here because that's where he took the vehicle to get the estimates on it, and he said it looked like there was a rock impact because it was straight on impact. So that's what
I don't see 2 quotes.
and his vehicle was parked, it wasn't moving,
May.
nobody was around it.
Can I ask you why it was so late, May 10th?
May 9th.
Well,
May
he didn't leave, he didn't notice until he left after work.
I know this is July. That's
Well-
May
Well,
9th.
Yeah.
he didn't think anybody was gonna fix it, so he went and got it fixed, and the receipts are attached to the report where he got it fixed and he paid for it. And, so, in talking to Supervisor Powers, we did a report on it and to see if he could get reimbursed his money for getting his windshield fixed that the grounds crew apparently busted out.
Apparently, though. Did you see them?
No,
You didn't see them?
it's just where it's parked. Prior to that, we were supposed to have camera system set up where you could see all the previous IT guy. We never did. We have them now, but this was after this happened. No, we
Did
don't
you know
leave
they
for
were
lunch
out
up there.
there?
Ma'am?
Did you know they were out there?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, I got a statement from both of the people that were out there saying that they did cut the grass in front of his vehicle and use a weed eater.
But when they're out there, if you were aware of it, you were aware that they were out there,
Oh, yes.
but you didn't move your car or anything like that?
Because where I park, no. Now then, they call me the night before and we do move into the main park to get out of it. Now, there was one time that it was heavily grassy grown up that we moved, but
I'd like to ask legal if I may. I don't see but the 1 quote for the repairs, and I don't know if that included taxes, and I don't see any of the statements that Mr. Rich said that he got from the other people.
I do see quotes, but it's not 2, it's 1. There's paid Dunaway. I don't see any statements from anybody.
So what's the legal opinion on this?
Question in all these claims is whether or not the county is somehow negligent. Just the mere fact that they mowed the yard and a windshield was broken does not prove anything. It's a logical conclusion, but it doesn't prove any negligence on the part of the county. So in order to make a claim against the county, you must prove somebody was negligent and failed to exercise reasonable care. We've had these before, so the board wrote a call where the mowers didn't go inside and tell the people, we're gonna be mowing, you need to move your car. And I think the board has allowed allowed a claim like that before. So I don't know if that happened, because none of that's here.
They did not on that day.
They did not
But if
go
you-
in on that day and tell you they were mowing, please move the
But
vehicles.
if you knew they were mowing.
No, we knew they were mowing, they didn't come in and ask.
I
us.
understand, but then the next question is, if you knew they were mowing, they don't have to come tell you, you know they're mowing, so when you leave it there, you're assuming the risk.
But they
So-
were not there, we got
We all know that mowers, when you're mowing grass, will throw a rock or something in the yard, it just happens. And if it hits glass, it will break it, so, and my concern here is not that, obviously the windshield was damaged. The question is whether or not there's any evidence of negligence on, were the guards on the mower? Did they come in and advise you were gonna be mowing? If they didn't do that, okay, so that would help us, except then you knew they were mowing, you didn't go out and move your car. If you'd have gone out and moved your car, they hadn't told you, and you saw the windshield was broke, then I could say that would probably be fall within what the board has done before. The fact that you knew they were mowing didn't go out and say, well, move my car, is an assumption.
No, when I got there, they were not, I didn't know until they had started mowing, so they never once came in, Tim, and said,
I understand
move your car. So I understand what you're saying too, so.
that. How about trying to, my windshield got broke too. I mean, I don't know what it was, but it was big.
Well, the reason why I went the very next day is that it already went all the way up to the very top. Split right down the middle.
I think I saw a white truck with HO on the side of it. I don't know where it came from, but,
Neil had mentioned we can buy $100 guards to start putting on all, explain what that is.
Well, these mowers don't have, they have a discharge. There's no deflector or cover that covers the discharge, so everything flies out of these mowers. If you were to get a mulching kit and put it on there, 3 blades come with it, and a piece goes over there that bolts on the discharge, and these blades mulch this grass up. There's nothing thrown out the side of the mower at all.
mowers should have guards on them.
They don't.
Well,
Or a mulching kit.
Ask Tim if it-
And about,
I'm
about-
sorry, but Tim,
Was
how,
it the road or the
that
Parks and Rec?
That's not road.
It's Parks and Rec.
I think it's building and grounds.
Building grounds.
Is that
So
who
we
did
need
the
Willie.
grass?
Somebody.
But see, they did the same thing with the CTA bus about 3 months prior to this. There's no cover over the discharge. I told them, don't go across the parking lot out there. 15 minutes after I told them that, with the blades going, 15 minutes after I told them that, they come across there, they bust the big window out of the CTA bus because the rocks are slinging out that discharge. Where if they'd had a mulching kit, no rocks or anything would be slung out of there.
I don't remember a claim on
So do you want us to wait and speak to
I'd
Willie
like
and take it
to.
under advisement?
that. Yeah, because what you're saying about the mowers, we need to talk to Willie to confirm or at least make
Yeah.
a suggestion, in my opinion.
it
Yeah.
has to be 3 quotes.
should have guards on them that deflect whatever's
That's what I
coming
mean.
down.
Well, they don't have them.
And like he said, the mulching kit is a game changer. It mulches it as it goes and it won't
They have a
discharge.
cup, you know, that the general deflecting down.
Right.
So I'll
All right.
move the table
Okay.
until next meeting when Willie can come in and
Second.
address.
All right, we have a motion and a second to table. Any further discussion?
Yeah, would you also submit the 2 statements you got, please? So we can get our backup.
I gave Pam a copy of this. Y'all want me to make y'all a copy of the report and the
Why
whole
we
thing?
take-
She means the statements from the people who were
You said
cutting.
you got statements from the people who were cutting the grass.
Oh, okay, okay.
That
Those
has
are
guards and all.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll get back to you on that.
That'll be next Monday.
Next Monday. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, going to number 1 now, consider auto claim of Ronnie Toller for rock damage to his vehicle. Please join us.
Scraping the coast, man. Thought I recognized you.
Don't hold that against me.
That was
Give us
just
your-
nice. It was a nice event.
Give us your address, please, Mr. Toller.
It is 10529 Colvin Road, Gulfport.
Neil, you did the report. Do you want to fill us in?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Toller here on 5/23/23, approximately 7:30 in the morning, he was taking his kids to school, traveling west on West Wortham Road at the time of the school hours. And the driver's side of his 2020 Dodge?
2020 Dodge.
20 Dodge, pearl black in color, with the whole driver's side and the windows were peppered by rocks coming from a bush hog from one of the county tractors that was cutting the grass on the side of the road. Upon my investigation, taking pictures of the brush hog up there, the back of it, the guard in the back should have, this bush hog should have never been used up there. The guard in the back is almost completely gone. And the wheel in the back isn't adjusted all the way down to where the brush hog would fit flat on the road. And I also have pictures in here where the driver apparently ran through a pile of rocks at the time Mr. Toller was going by and just slung the rocks all over the side of his truck. There's pictures in here too, the best I could take from a reflection from that burl black paint. It looks like somebody shot it about 50 yards away with 9 shots from a shotgun. And he's got
Is this
estimates
the
on
road
here.
crew?
And,
Was it the road crew, Neil?
Ma'am?
Was it the road crew?
Who was it?
Yeah, who put the tractor, from the tractor. And
With
he's
the
got an
signs
estimate
up?
in here, $14,425.
Were there signs up for, that said,
Yeah, that's what
men
you should do.
working?
There were signs at each end of the road, I put those up too, but
Were they up? Did you take pictures?
ma'am,
The signs?
I got pictures of the
up,
signs, yeah.
And you took pictures.
Um,
This also includes $943.69 for tax, which the county.
But I talked to somebody out at the work center, and apparently somebody didn't have a brush hog hooked to this tractor, so they just went in the back and got one. This is a really old brush hog, probably shouldn't have been used because it didn't have the guard on the back, it was just torn up. And the wheel should have been adjusted to where it fits flush. Because I have a tractor myself, and when I level it, put a level on it, get it down, there's nothing that flies out of that back of that, not even the grass.
Okay, I don't
He was
see
just
the-
at the wrong place at the wrong time.
I don't see the statements that you're making reference to once again. Can I ask Timmy if
Of
he's
course.
aware? Timmy, are you aware of any of this, so nobody contacted you?
I'm not aware.
Did you talk to Raymond Cuevas?
No, he talked to, it's not on
Did
here.
you talk to Raymond?
This
I
is
did not just talk to the maintenance crew in the back.
That's what I'm saying, I got this, but we need to know who to talk to on the county side.
When you took a picture of the machine they were using, how did you know which one? Who told you that's the one I used?
They were up there on the scene when I got there, and
They were still on
they
the
pointed
scene?
it out to me.
So you called immediately, you pulled
Immediately,
over
yeah.
and called them, that
But
was
you didn't
smart.
get their names of the county workers.
Yes, ma'am, they're on the front of the report right here in the narrative.
I'd always
Or
go
no
through the
statement.
road manager or assistant road manager if I were you, but they'd be.
Andrew
he's,
McCowan.
you know,
Timmy, it was Andrew McCowan.
you didn't know
I mean,
anything
that-
about it.
That's the operator, but that's the conditions of the bush hog. Really, they should have got with Raymond. Raymond should have been out on the scene as well.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't see any pictures of the bush hog. The
I'm
tractor,
on.
but not the bush hog.
This one, a little bit low. Looks like a fairly new one to me.
I think you should talk to Raymond Cuevas about the bush hog.
Yeah, I agree with, once again.
So maybe we'd
Raymond.
talk to Raymond and figure out which one it was.
Raymond, just so you know, Mr. Toller is the District 2's road superintendent, and the road manager's here.
Ashley said she was
So, once again, I'd like to table.
Well, I know two people from Harrison County showed up, Homer, and I did not get the other gentleman's name.
We just need to hear from him.
No problem.
Yeah,
If we're gonna stick to.
But it all would have been averted if I have equipment myself, okay? And the first thing that,
Yeah, that picture's there.
whenever I took all my training, quote unquote, from the Kubota dealership, you never drive with the implement engaged. He was driving down the road and turned off the road and had it up, and it was engaged when he went over the curb. And that's what sheared the ground off. If he would have waited to engage the implement, instead of having it engaged while he was traveling, none of this would ever happen.
there's actually a picture of the road being scuffed, and you're
Yes.
talking, that's where the engagement was allegedly?
And that's after,
See what I'm talking about?
that's probably about 6 or 7 minutes after it happened. By the time I got turned around and caught up with the tractor, and both of us decided to get off of West Worthing because that's about the same as standing on I-10. So,
I hope you understand we have to be very
I-
thorough because
I'm-
it's taxpayers' money.
That's
and
fine.
You
I
never
have-
know
I
where
have
the
no
rocks
issue
are
with
coming
it.
from.
Would
a
you
lot
mind
of
waiting
times.
till next Monday?
not a problem. I have no issue. I'm not seeking
No,
anything
that's fine.
in malice. I
Yeah,
just
we
want my
know
truck
that,
fixed.
we are, we just have to be
I'm
very
Yeah.
thorough.
totally with you.
with this.
So I'll just move we table till
And
Monday and
protocol
have,
is
Mr.
necessary.
Raymond
All right, so we have a motion to table till we can do more due diligence. Do we have a second?
Second,
Any further discussion?
With the board's permission, can we also ask Walt Warren to look at the estimate and the repair to see what's
Yes.
actually being done? I'll send it to him.
Okay, we'll include that in the motion.
and Bill, when you have an accident, they usually have to get 3 quotes.
They just told me, Angela over there told me to get 2, so.
Oh, okay, 2, okay, sorry, my.
Madam President,
Yes.
can I make sure that I get some of the pictures that the family went
They're
up?
waiting for Al.
Neil,
Neil, you can give her copy, everything to
Yeah.
Claudine, please, for the record.
She's talking about the 2 pictures.
yeah, the 2 pictures that the family went up on of the rescue.
Show the back of the push off.
You want me to?
Thank you for coming, sorry for
No
the
problem.
inconvenience.
I know, I'm sorry that happened.
I've been in retail management for 27 years. I handle these.
You can have
mean,
all
yeah,
of them.
yeah.
The picture of the,
1,784.
Ooh.
And that's up from last year?
That's up from last year. So it was very successful.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I was told Friday that Biloxi had like 1,103 citations.
1,100?
1,100.
Goodness gracious.
But like I told Captain Everett, I can only control, what happens on those 15 acres.
That was probably traffic citation.
It had to be.
I would imagine.
But I still check in with them, I check in with Gulfport on my follow-up for the event, just to see if we have an issue that we need to fix before next year on our end.
Thank you so much.
So have a great day.
Appreciate it. All right, number 3, recognizing Emily Dawn Escolas, representing Unite to Thrive, to discuss mental and environmental health in Harrison County. Good morning. Give us your address, please.
Hi. Yep, my name is Emily Donna Scolas. I'm a national advocate with Unite to Thrive and the NAACP. I'm speaking with you today on behalf of Samori McGill. He is right here with me. He's a 20-year-old autistic Gulfport resident who's been failed and victimized by every system in Harrison County, which was supposed to protect and help him. I first learned of Sam when an activist and former neighbor of his contacted me saying he was autistic and that his father abused him and left him homeless. She gave him a couch to sleep on, and I instructed her to contact Adult Protective Services at that time. She filed a report in a mobile crisis unit, came out, but nobody helped him with housing. He ended up eventually going back to his father's apartment, when shortly after I learned Sam was in Harrison County Jail as an autistic man. I contacted Gulfport NAACP President Gary Fredericks on March 28th. I let him know the situation and that Sam could use legal protection and advocacy. He said he forwarded the information, was told that Sam had court-appointed counsel. Bridget, who works in the courthouse, later told us Sam's right to legal counsel in his final appearance was waived, and that a box literally was checked, and that no one was representing his voice. The first time I personally met Sam, he walked 6 miles from Harrison County Jail to his father's apartment. He is resilient, let me tell you, but this was the point for me that I became extremely involved advocating for Sam. He made several abuse disclosures against his father, and I called APS myself and reported what he told me. They did not remove him from the house or really help in any way. Sam disclosed incest between himself and his 14-year-old brother, saying Matthew performed oral and anal sex on him, which made him uncomfortable. He also noted that he has seen Matthew having sexual relations with another blood brother named Jug in the same household. Homer is Sam's father and has relentlessly painted Sam as the problem of the household. He is the perpetrator, he is the problem. let's get, make sure he is always the bad guy in any situation that gets painted. Never disclosing brothers, never disclosing any issue with himself. It's always using this autistic man who has been rendered voiceless and making him out to be the sole perpetrator in the situation. My question is Sam modeling behaviors then from the household and or in the greater public, right? So he never got help for any of his issues. I actually went on not just a statewide or a Gulfport or a Harrison County search for getting help for somebody that's been sexually abused, but I went on a nationwide search, everybody, nationwide, and I found no one's getting help when you've been sexually abused. You're definitely not getting help if you then model the behaviors that happen to you. You're gonna get bars. And it's really, really, really just hit a core of a gap in services that is so deadly and so dangerous for the greater health of the public, for anybody, really. Sam's uncle, Walter, he learned what was going on with Sam and pulled him out of his father's apartment and brought him to live with he and Grandma. He changed his disability payee and has stepped up as an actual father figure for Sam, saving him from further abuse, neglect, and systemic targeting. Okay? Sam's probation case managers have told us that in court, Sam's father was given a choice whether to have Sam go to jail or to not. Sam's now been to jail 3 times as an autistic man. Okay? He was given a choice in this matter by the judge, and he deliberately said, take him. Take him to jail. His father has been Sam's payee and had total control of his money for 10 years. He's never seen a dollar of his own money. Sam's been on probation and had fees. He's got restitution. One payment in many, many months has ever been made on his behalf, which he has had no control over his money. He did not take him to his probation appointments or enroll him in mental health counseling. So an autistic young man with obvious disabilities has been asked to perform functions he is incapable of achieving and then arrested for violating probation. You can look this up right now, his mugshot for violating his probation because he did not attend, but he did not have transportation, no funds, and he's autistic. So then his father calls to have him arrested again for violating probation, and they put him in a cop car. Sam is autistic. We know behaviors associated with autism. He went ballistic in this cage, this small enclosed space, and he damaged some wiring in this cop car that he should have never, in my opinion, been in the first place, right? So Sam's father clearly set him up to fail. He used Harrison County Municipal Courtroom, Gulfport, as a weapon against his vulnerable, voiceless, autistic son. Sam's uncle tried to get Sam's belongings from that household and was denied. He called authorities to help keep the peace and assist with getting his clothes, his legal documents. On recording, we have a video of this. Police clearly have a bias and make Sam out to be the bad guy and decline to assist. Once again, his father tells them that Sam is a sexual perpetrator, and then roar, he is just looked at like the scum of the earth. Nobody's there to help him. He is no longer a victim. He is a perpetrator. So they tell Walter, his uncle, that he has a mental health appointment. You need to make sure he gets to that mental health appointment. They give him the wrong time. I took him myself. We show up when they told us on record to go, and it wasn't even the appointment time. Hello, setting him up to fail. When we got there finally and got able to be seen, his therapist said that man had a caseload of 120. He said nobody's getting mental health services in Harrison County. This is the therapist telling us this. Numerous adults have came forward saying that they have witnessed his father abusing him. They have called the police themselves. Here we stand. Sam never has had justice. Sam has never been heard. He is always the problem. He had a court date on April 20th. Activists made a court support flyer and posted it on Facebook. I have text evidence showing activists disclosing Sam's father and Sam's father's girlfriend physically threatening activists' lives. They're trying to stand up for his voice. They demanded that court support flyer was removed, and it was, because the activists were so afraid. Sam has disclosed that he has reported abuse to Gulfport High School several times. He has a memory on him. Can you tell us the name of the person that you disclosed at Gulfport High School?
I say, like 3 teachers.
So he's told 3 teachers of abuse.
And guidance counselors.
I told Miss Darden and Miss Lisa Bowman. But she couldn't, because I told the school about he kept beating on me every day, every time I go to school in the morning.
Okay, are you almost done? Because we are almost at our time limit.
Yep, almost done. So there's no housing to place him in. This is a huge issue in Harrison County. There's no supportive housing for people that have autism. But the big issue too for me is that his public defender said that we are housing people in jail to replace the mental health that we are not providing them here, and then they are not getting rehabilitated. We in Harrison County here have the highest rates of opioid overdoses. Mississippi Power has rained down mercury from the sky when the coal was used for 70 years.
Okay, I think we're getting a little off track. We're
It is correlated.
We're focusing on.
But it's correlated because when we burn coal, we have mercury and we have high rates of autism.
Okay, sorry, but this is not a place to, excuse me, this is not a place to allege things against corporations. We're gonna focus on how he has been failed. You said you called APS, did you mean CPS?
Well, he's 20.
Okay.
So I called both because there was
Okay.
a 14-year-old involved in some of his disclosures.
Okay.
I've made multiple, I have the report numbers.
You said Bridget in the courthouse waived his, do you know what court, what judge?
Yeah, we've been going to the open court, Judge Walker,
Okay,
Fant Walker.
okay. You say there's a gap in services, and we're gonna give you, I'm gonna give you some phone numbers. There's an advocacy center, you can go straight there, and we're gonna get him all the services he needs, okay? That's exactly why we started the advocacy center. Probation case officers gave the choice to the dad to leave him at home or just take him. Do you have a report from that day?
I don't, I have,
The dad had control of the money. Who was over? He had no caseworker controlling his money. What money? Social Security?
Disability.
For his disability. Okay, Social Security for disability. So the judge there should be a person that's in control of that money. And you're saying it should not be the father.
it was the father for 10 years. Even after pulling him out,
Does the uncle have it now?
It is now grandma.
Okay, and you're happy with that? Grandma's okay to do that?
Yeah, the Social Security office said they were filing federal fraud charges against his father for stealing his money even after he wasn't in the household, so
Okay.
there's definitely.
So we're gonna get you an advocate, a volunteer advocate that's court appointed. It depends, it'll be up to the judge. When you damage the car, damage the car in the back of the Gulfport police car, are they trying to charge him or make him pay that back?
Restitution.
What was the damages for restitution, do you remember?
Roughly $1,300.
Roughly
And none of his probation fines have been paid, and he's due up August 1st, and he's, to this date, we're in July, the pay's been changed. His grandma still doesn't have his money. So there really is no ability to pay that restitution.
Okay, that's something the advocate, you can tell her too. Mental health appointment, when and where and who allegedly said, tough, you have an appointment, we gave you the wrong date, doesn't matter, don't care.
Well,
Who is
the
that?
police.
Because we pay a whole lot of money for mental health.
The police are the ones, and we had the video recording saying when his appointment date and time was. We went there at that date and time. Pine Belt Mental Health said, oh, there's no way that's the correct appointment because his therapist was only there in the afternoons, and they gave us the correct appointment time, and then we came back in the afternoon.
Okay. All right, and no housing support. He's still with it, you're still with your uncle. Is he okay living with the uncle and the grandma?
Yeah, except, I mean, if he had his own housing, that would be good too, you know? I mean, they're really a placeholder right now because there have not been any type of actual help yet.
Assistance,
Yeah.
okay. So I'm gonna give you the phone number for the Advocacy Center in Harrison County, and she has all of the charities, all of the taxpayer dollars, all, you know, that, not the dollars, but the list of what the dollars are already paying for. So I'm gonna connect you with her, and then she can start going through and filing everything, seeing where everything is, go through the courts, and get his just advocacy, okay?
That's interesting that you say there's a court-appointed advocate, because I asked them.
Well, there's not, but that's where, if you haven't had a court-appointed advocate, a guardian ad litem, he's not had a GAO.
No.
Okay, and who was the court assistant in the court that you dealt with? Was it just Bridget?
I've talked to Bridget.
Okay, and you say she's in Judge Walker's court?
Yeah, we went this past Thursday, and they made us wait the entire time. I've emailed the judge, I put the text messages showing the activists getting their lives threatened. The prosecutor made us wait the entire time, went and saw everybody else, and then said, your judge isn't here. We're gonna
Okay.
have your judge.
So I'm literally gonna hand you the phone number of who to call, and I promise you, go ahead, Connie.
Okay, just one question. On the advocacy center and advocacy, she's gonna point her in the right direction, right?
Correct.
Because I need.
She just has an encyclopedia of everything, all the assets, resources, and then she'll hook them up with the right, that's all she does.
Okay, because, is there legal involved in this, Tim, at all?
Well, there's all kind of issues, I don't even know
Oh,
where to
yeah.
begin, but
Yeah, we need to do some
I'm sorry, what was
research.
his last name? Because I can help with some of this stuff.
Thank you.
McGill, McGill.
Can I ask what the original charges were?
I was told disturbing the peace, it was over a year ago in July of 2022 is what I was told. And then he was put on probation, and then he didn't go to a single appointment, not a single payment was made per father. And then they rearrested him for violating probation and restarted they added 6 months of probation time. And so here we are, it wraps up, it's supposed to be wrapped up August 1st,
Was
maybe
that
the 23rd of July, actually.
Madam President?
Yes, please.
Was that the first time that he's ever been arrested?
Was it the first time? He said he's been to jail 3 times, and so.
So this all started about what age? I guess I'm trying to find out. But what age did all this start? Because he's only 20.
Right. So that would have been a year and a half ago. He was a senior, registered as a senior in high school at Gulfport, and got put in jail, and then never returned to school. His father never re-enrolled him. He missed out his whole senior year, and he wants to graduate. He wants to be baptized, you know? Sam is a wonderful human being.
Is Greg Whitfield still here? All
He
right,
wants to be baptized.
okay, and I'm sorry, tell me your name again.
Emily?
Emily. Emily, we need your address just for the record. Or you can give a business address or a P.O. box, I mean.
423 Trussell Road, Petal, Mississippi.
Okay, thank you. I'm just gonna hand you this before we take any action. Her name is Jeannie Herron, she's the director of the Advocacy Center. There's her phone number, it's right behind Patchworth Elementary. Start there, she will assess everything. Our legal department, Tim, what did you?
I'm gonna try to find out about the city of Gulfport and the restitution, see if I can help in that area.
Thank you.
I did, look at the record, it looks like he has 2 disturbing the peace charges and a violation of probation, which he was apparently served time in jail and was released after he. So I'm not sure of the status of restitution, but I will inquire and try to find out what it's about. Do you have an email address, ma'am, where if we find out, we can let you know what we found out?
Yes, unite, the number 2, thrive, THRIVE @gmail.com.
I want to commend you on helping the vulnerable. That is, if everyone could do that, this world would be a beautiful place, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I do pray that Sam's story and his boys can help so many here in Harrison County and abroad and in Mississippi, because every person I call that works in the system say, we're underfunded. We are understaffed. We are not helping the mentally ill, you know?
We have some disconnects, but we definitely spend a whole lot of money on mental health. So is there any motion or any action anyone would like to take?
Could I request some funds for Sam?
It wouldn't really be a fun situation. I think we'll start with
Okay.
the advocacy.
Okay.
And we're not allowed to do individual
Okay.
funds. But thank you, and we will be in touch with our
Right.
attorney, Tim.
I will find out about the city of Gulfport situation.
Thank you, because that judge has refused to talk to me.
He's not supposed to talk to you by law, so.
I know, but even with him, you
You
know,
can't talk
so
with him.
I need help here.
And there's also CPS, you need the dates of when you made these things, and go to Gulfport High and ask the teachers when they made their calls, because I'm sure they did. But
I
CPS is
sure hope
notorious
so.
for failing our children, I'm sorry, but it's a fact.
That's what they said. They're like, we don't really, even the people on the phone when I'm calling are like, we're not really doing what we need.
Because he's an adult too, yeah.
The judges aren't allowed to talk to one side or the other without both sides being present, so that's why they refuse to talk to you. But we're gonna find out about it, I will send you an email.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You can send me whatever, so that I know about his autism, he's been diagnosed with autism.
He's been on IEPs, he's definitely.
I just need to know so I can tell the court and try to get some resolution.
Do you need a copy of the IEP then from Gulfport
I'll
High?
send you an email and then we'll communicate about what maybe, I have to ask them what they want.
Sam's been praying for freedom, and I mean, we are coming up on the 4th. It would be nice.
Well, we're not gonna make it by the 4th tomorrow,
I'm just
but I
saying.
will, I promise you.
It's a nice moment.
It's a great start.
I promise you, we will send you an email shortly, and then you can provide me whatever information. Don't try to communicate with the judge, that just upsets things. I will help you in that regard.
Thank you so much.
Let
Keep
the advocacy
documenting
center
everything.
help you
Thank you,
otherwise.
Tam.
Okay?
Thank
Yeah,
you
thank
so,
you,
so
Tam.
much.
Good touch.
Thank you, Ellen.
It's an honor to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck, sweetheart.
Good luck.
Keep the faith. You got this.
Our night
No, you
alone
don't
soon.
stop something.
Oh, I got this.
All right, number 4, recognizing Cindy Arsenault, president of Fix in the Coast, to speak on implementing a responsible pet ownership ordinance.
Hi, again. Since we last met 2 weeks ago, Mr. Weatherford's situation has been resolved. Completely,
Yay,
Thank
yay.
you so much.
100%.
What happened?
I removed all the
I
cats.
know, but I mean, what, you removed them?
I did.
You
All
did?
but 4. There were 3-week-old kittens left on the porch with a mother cat. The Humane Society of South Mississippi came in, removed those 4 kittens, left the mother cat. I came back, trapped them, removed all the cats. The adults are now with me, all looking for barn homes, so if anybody needs a barn cat, I have barn cats. The kittens that were older, they were about 2.5 months old. Those are now with my veterinarian. She has a farm in Picayune, and they're up there in an enclosure until they are old enough to be fixed. At which time Fix in the Coast will spay neuter all of those. And then she will find them homes if they become friendly, and if they don't, she'll leave them at the barn, but open the enclosure so that they can be free. So I come before you today to ask you to please consider a responsible animal care ordinance. We are plagued on this, we're plagued in the southeast. Let's not just limit it to Mississippi. We're plagued with homeless animals. It's not just cats. We have homeless cats, we have homeless dogs, and even now it's reached into the domestic rabbit population. There is a rabbit rescue here on the coast if you're not aware. I am asking simply for spay neuter and microchip ordinance. We were founded 4 years ago. Go through a few things, a little bit about Fix in the Coast. We're a nonprofit, we're a charity, 501c3. Our mission is strictly fixing spay neuter, the homeless, the feral, and the stray cats of Harrison County. We do sometimes foster kittens, those 3-week-old kittens that were left on Don's porch were going to come home with me on Sunday with their mother to be fostered and then put out into a home. Subsequently, the kittens were not there when I returned, and the mother cat was spay neuter, and she is in my home. So in 2019, our first year, we fixed 354 cats. In 2020, we fixed 508. 2021, we fixed 888. In 2022, we fixed 1,067 homeless or feral cats.
Wow.
And then year-to-date, over 400. We have fixed 3,200 animals in 4 years. These are strays. This shows you how many animals. And I have a list of 40 cat colonies on the books right now, ranging from 3 to 100 cats. We get to them. It takes time. There are very few volunteers with us, but we are getting to them. In 2021, we had the help of animal control from D'Iberville. D'Iberville Animal Control would call me, we would make a meeting point, I would go get the cat, take them, get them fixed, and return them back to Animal Control Officer. Animal Control Officer, the sense, went and released them. If we had some support of animal control agencies, we could do even more. We paid the fee to fix them. This had nothing to do with D'Iberville's budget. This was our budget. So why we need a change, and this cute little picture over here is because we have a hurricane area. We can save the taxpayers money by keeping the animals out of the shelters. There will be less homeless animals because they can't reproduce. The less will rely on the shelters to provide care for homeless animals. As stewards of thousands of tax dollars, we need to put some of this responsibility on the pet owners to do their part in reducing shelter intake, animal control calls, and also to increase the return to owner rate that we have. We can end animal homelessness by requiring the pet owners to be responsible for spaying, neutering, and microchipping all pets by the time they reach 5 months of age. Why 5 months? Because that is the recommended age by AHA, which is the American Animal something or other association. I have all the references at the end. We can also identify the pet owners. We're in a storm area, so animals that are lost during a hurricane, with the microchip, we will be able to return them to their owners. And then if there are hoarding situations, and you're going to see hoarding in situations, we will be able to identify the owner. So this is what we see every day. Some of these pictures are not going to be pleasant, but there is no blood or guts or anything like that. This is just what we see. You have a mother cat with a litter of kittens. Every one of those kittens has the potential, there's definitely one female there. Every one of those kittens has the ability to reproduce starting at 4 months old. So a cat becomes sexually active at 4 months old. There's an injured kitty cat begging for help. Can we go get it and get it some help? We find orphan kittens, or people find orphan kittens, and they call us. They call other rescues. They even call Missy Dubison at Wild at Heart. I found an injured cat that's got a broken leg. That kitten on the right did perish. We've got people begging, please spay neuter. That kitten perished. The post on the right got an SOS call, mama and babies. Fixing the Coast did remedy that situation. We went out and got the mother and the kitty. All the cats and kittens are now in custody from that situation with Fixing the Coast. Feral Feline does the same thing we do over in Jackson County. They rescued that cat and got it the help it needed and had it neutered, and it is living in foster custody at this time. But it's not just cats, it's dogs too. Animal Aid of Mississippi rescued that dog. They have a support from an organization in New York City helping that one. What's happening? By the way, the cat on the right is a cat that I have rescued. She has a bullet in her spine. She came to me in labor. 6 kittens later with a bullet in her spine. The abandonment of pets due to shelter overload, shelter closures, surrender fees, apartment pet deposits, animal food prices is a contributing factor to people abandoning their pets. Most of them are left behind, and they're mostly left in mobile home parks and apartment complexes. There's an overload of kittens and puppies because people fail to sterilize the parents. Bottom line, spay neuter. Many are left behind when the owners move. Several get dumped into the area colonies. It's not hard to find a cat colony around the Gulf Coast. They're there. Animal abandonment has become a huge concern. Our hoarding cases are up. But what happens when somebody who's hoarding animals, dies? They're throwing them out on the street. We've had animal control being told not to respond to cat calls allegedly because the shelter has closed to intake.
By the way, I spoke to Lori West and she said that is completely inaccurate. So I'll hook you up with the Humane Society and you and Lori West because that is totally inaccurate. They do take cats.
This came through people who have spoken to animal control, not
Okay.
something that Vixen.
Are you
So-
almost done with your, are you almost?
Yeah, I'll speed it up. So what we do is we ear tip a cat. If you see an ear tipped cat, it means it's fixed.
May I ask you something?
She's gonna ask you a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I understand what the issue is. I'm trying to find, what is your solution?
Spay, neuter your animals.
How do
She
you
wants an
propose
ordinance.
it?
Okay, that's what I'm
Just
gonna,
kinda cut
the
it.
last piece of this puzzle is, this isn't gonna happen today. I just want a yes, we need to do something for these animals. That's all I want. And a committee formed of veterinarians and animal professionals to come up with how to do this. Because I
So you don't
can't,
have an example of.
no, I
another
have
ordinance?
examples of other state laws here
Because
though.
I can't pull it up, I'm trying.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have
Is that
it.
state law or county law?
These are state and county laws from around our country.
So maybe you could get us an example of it.
Absolutely, if you provide me your email, I'll send you the PowerPoint, they're all in here.
Send them to our attorney. Give it.
Sure,
So send it-
absolutely.
Send it to me, but
Or
I
send it
mean,
to
just in the interest of time, that's what we need.
So we want domestic rabbits, cats, and dogs chipped. The reason, not for food animals, so that we can track where these animals come from. We believe that there should be breeders. We do not want to exclude breeders. There is no controlling breeders today. There are a bunch of examples of getting breeder licenses in some of these laws. A breeder is different than Joe Blow who has a litter of puppies or kittens. Shelter and rescue licensing. I am licensed as a nonprofit for trap, neuter, return, and I foster kittens. I am not licensed as a rescue. My friend Vanessa with For Pet's Sake Rescue is licensed as a rescue. We need a standard. It's hard work. We do this 24/7, 365. Christmas morning, I get a call. We're gonna
Okay, I'm
get
sorry,
help.
ma'am, we're about out of time, so
Okay.
we're gonna get the ordinances, examples of what you're hoping for to our attorney. And here are the references, okay.
I can forward this.
We have it attached.
Okay. It's the last page.
Oh, there it is, okay. So like New Orleans has a parish plus cost of living, okay.
Thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you so much for your passion in doing this.
Today, I just ask you, please, let's say yes, we need something different than what we're doing. We need an ordinance. We don't expect to have results today. We just want a committee form to get to whatever that ordinance will become.
Okay.
Now, can I comment, you
Yes.
know that the county's ordinance would only address
Yes, sir.
in the county.
First steps, baby steps, sir.
Make sure that,
Is
not
this
sure how
what
much
you
is
meant?
Yes, thank you.
in and how much of that.
Cross the
Right.
line.
Thank you so much, Ms. Olson. All right, we have about 10 minutes until we have a hearing. I wanted to recognize Senator Scott Delano being here today. Just thank you for being here.
You want to, let's just go ahead and take up the.
Yeah, we have 10 minutes. You want to go ahead and take what you're here
Go
for?
to his.
Yeah, number, where's that 10?
69.
69. Gerald, you don't mind, right?
I yield to the senator.
All right, let's jump down to 69.
Good choice.
That should be relatively quick.
Yeah. Board agenda resolution of the Board of Supervisors, Harris County, Mississippi, determining the necessity for and invoking the authority granted to the county by the legislature with respect to tax increment financing as set forth in Chapter 45 of Title 21, Mississippi Code 1972 as amended, determining that Gulfport Promenade project remains a project eligible for tax increment financing under laws of this state, that a public hearing be conducted in connection with the ratification of certain amendments to and the county's continued participation in the tax increment financing plan approved by the city of Gulfport and for related purposes. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? I think we've all been brought up to speed on this. Any discussion?
Maybe just a quick comment from Scott, what's going on, if you guys mind.
You want to comment, Scott?
Thank you for the opportunity today. Again, Scott Delano, 964 Emily Drive in Biloxi, 39532. I'm here as now the owner of this piece of property that's in question, or part of, which is a part of the land south of Dido Road along Interstate 10 and Highway 605. There's also another part that is on the north side of Dido Road, another 39 acres or so that borders on Highway 605 also. This is a long-time project that has traded hands over the past 10 or 15 years. DDR originally planned to do a large retail center there prior to D'Iberville being able to make their site where the target's currently located right now. The owner at that time, which was the applicant back in 2007, was DDR. That is also the same development group that ended up managing and owning Crossroads Mall for a long number of years. They, in 2010, 2011, when the market started crashing, the retail industry really dissolved, and we don't have these large retail centers anymore. DDR is not even in existence anymore. They've been bought out a number of times. But they went from the second largest national retail owner and developer in North America to someone who doesn't even exist today. So that's how quick this market churned. When they had this piece of property and the project ended up moving to D'Iberville, DDR took this project and mothballed it and said, we're not going to do anything with it. They asked my company, Southeast Commercial, to help sell this property to, or find a buyer to purchase 80-something acres of property at a point in time in our national economy where no one was purchasing, no one was able to purchase that large amount of property on a speculative nature. There is a TIF that's in place that was done under an old development plan that had the retail component to it that originated in Gulfport, the city of Gulfport, and then it came to the Board of Supervisors for ratification and also an adoption of a similar measure. In 2018, I convinced DDR to take the property out of being mothballed and allow for some development. They were not in a position, nor was anyone willing to come in and build the infrastructure to be able to sell parcels or to do anything. There was a petition to the city of Gulfport to amend their existing TIF agreement that changed it really from a retail type of a project to something that's more similar to what you see there today. That was unanimously accepted by the board of by the city of Gulfport, and which allowed for the development that you see there today, which is the CarMax, Champion Chrysler, some motorcycle dealership that's gone in, and then Matt Fowler's Automotive is also going to be, we're locating up there, and we have a couple of others that are going. All of that happened because we were able to get a TIF whereby all of the end users in that area participated in the construction of the public infrastructure. In 2018, when those amendments were made, those amendments did not come before the Board of Supervisors, which is, and now that the construction has been done and completed by CarMax, who actually built the roadway as the developer, they're petitioning the city to go ahead and issue the bonds. We can't issue the bonds until we come before you and ask for you to extend it and recognize that there was an adoption or an amendment to the original TIF agreement. We're asking for the same amendment. There's no changes with the language for the county. We just need this amendment to be done as well.
So it sounds like housekeeping more than anything.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
If there are any questions, I can't speak on behalf of the city.
This is an older TIF, but they're going to reissue the notices and publications, and so it'll actually be like you're doing the TIF again originally, as opposed to, but you're amending the previous TIF because the public's going to get notice. I think everything's fine in that regard.
Good. Any further discussion or questions? We have a motion and a second.
We got a motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. President.
Senator.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. We have a hearing in 2 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Keating. I think we need to wait. What number is the hearing, please?
32.
Gerald, do you mind?
No, it's about, you got it, it's raised, really.
Okay. Perfect. All right, moving to number 32, it was zoning administrator. You want to go ahead and explain?
Yes, ma'am. This is an appeal filed by Timothy Grattan and Gene Shaw, appealing the Planning Commission's denial of a rezoning and conditional use for a 5-lot subdivision with a private access easement on Elmer Ladner Road.
Are they here?
There you go.
Okay, hello, welcome.
Hello, good morning.
If you'd like to come join us and give us your name, your address, rather.
So you don't read the rules, do you?
Yeah. Give me your address, please, and then we're going to read you the rules of how it's going to go.
Okay, it's 25522 Elmer Ladner Road is our residence.
Okay. Eric, do you want to go ahead and read the rules, how we do the appeal? Just do the three, there's only 2 of them, right?
Well, I get
So 2 10-minute speakers.
Both appellant and applicant are allowed 3 10-minute speakers. All exhibits intended for the record shall be marked Exhibit A, B, etc. The appellant will be allowed a 5-minute rebuttal, address any board decision, questions, and then the board will render its decision.
Okay, so it'll be both of you speaking as appellants, right?
Mostly me.
Okay. Is the other side here, Eric? Whoever opposes their appeal, is someone else here?
I don't know if the opposers are here.
Is
No.
anyone here opposing on the opposite side of this? Okay, you can go ahead and start.
Not yet, they might
Yeah, which
show
one?
up. Okay, good morning. We are on a diverse country road, and the property in question is not stripped down of all living matter. We have very carefully managed to keep 25 live oaks, magnolias, camellias, azaleas, sweet gums, tulip poplars, blueberries, and many more trees, adding to the charm of the neighborhood and in consideration of potential home sites. Living plants and construction of partial fences along frontage of property would create an attractive feeling of privacy inside and a pleasant visual outside of entrance. On 3 sides of the property, we are already surrounded by woods and a row of tall azaleas. There was an 1,800 square foot home and 864 square foot studio apartment shed on 25544 Elmer Ladner that was built 30 years ago. Both were rented before being abandoned. It is in zone A1. This is the property we're talking about. We demolished the decrepit house and studio. It was completely eaten by termites. The 200-foot frontage is ample for the access road, mailboxes, and garbage cans. The cul-de-sac would lead to 2 to 3 long-term rental homes. First one is for my mama, and the back 2-3 lots would be for our eventual home and garden area. We built our present home on the 4 acres adjoining that property. The property would not be an apartment complex, Airbnb, retreat, or bed and breakfast with ever-changing clientele. We were told by the zoning office that we were allowed up to 5 lots on the property as long as there was room for coated roads for utilities. The land, kind of disjointed, sorry, I'm nervous.
You're fine, you're doing great.
You're doing great.
Our land elevation is 184 feet above sea level. We are high and dry with sandy clay soil, which according to Jason with the health department, we should have no problems laying down septic fields on any of the proposed sites. We are on a very well-kept commercial intersection with tractor trailers backing up over 500 feet in front of our present home, just to align themselves with the gate they have to go through to deliver materials and goods to a 20,000 square foot warehouse on Wolf River Ridge Road, our neighbor. No problems with our neighbor, we love them, we do. We're just trying to give you a picture of the area. There are a few rental trailers on Elmer Ladner coexisting with residential houses. There is the Antioch Ministries, which calls itself a bed and breakfast online, who rents out 17 rooms and 2 dormitories and serves breakfast and dinner right next to our posers, which aren't here. So, but changes are occurring directly on either side of our corner. More residential housing with division of properties in progress, clearing plots of land to build homes, additional new manufactured homes on residential properties, all of which are very visible to the road. Buc-ee's is moving less than 6 miles down the road, with a slated industrial park for the property next to them. Meanwhile, even without this eventual commerce, we as a coastal community are lacking in good quality homes to rent. Our rentals, each on its own acre plus land, will have the look of a small coastal neighborhood. All of our immediate neighbors, plus some further down the road, said that proposed rental homes would be a welcome asset to the neighborhood. And I got a bunch of signatures right here. I'd have more, but I made it a rule not to knock on anybody's door. They were outside, I talked to them.
Smart. Eric, do you know why they denied this? What was the planning commission's reason?
If you could put the map. The opposer is back here, seems to use, yeah, right here.
Thank you, Block.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
This is his district.
See, there's a drive that comes in here and it kind of loops around, and their property's right here. The only opposition was basically that, you know, they stack a bunch of garbage cans and mailboxes are lining over here, and they thought it was a little overcrowded in that corner.
But that's their garbage can.
Yeah,
So the people opposing stack their own garbage cans, and they say that's too much.
Correct.
The
I
area,
don't understand.
basically, that can be, garbage can is not really an issue, that can be. I wouldn't advise
Mr. Caffey owns all.
request simply because somebody, a bunch of garbage cans, that can be done.
Yes.
That's why.
The concerns I think that the opposition have is if you look at the size of the lots compared, they go into 1 acre lots. If you look at the description on that map of the size of the other lots, it's generally 3 acres, E1s. I believe, am I right, Eric? Most of those are E1. There are some
that are below 3,
most
but
of those probably were grandfathered in.
Wait, can I finish my presentation? Because I think
Well,
I
we ask
addressed
questions when
that.
it's pertinent.
Just a
Okay,
minute,
just
we'll
1
let you
second.
finish it. I'm just answering.
Yes.
Somebody had a question. Was it you or Tony? Somebody had a question.
Just what was the planning commission's
Yes,
opposition?
that
What was
you.
the reason
And
they were given?
I read the transcript, and I think it's changing, they're concerned about changing the neighborhood.
they were a little concerned with the size of the lots.
Right.
If you look at the adjacent lots, basically right across the street, they're all about the same size
Right.
as what they're trying to do.
Right.
But the complainants are on some larger lots, which
Backs up.
actually are supposed to go out that way, but they all use Elmer Ladner.
And you can see they back
So,
up.
see, they're not even on Elmer Ladner, they're on Wolf River
They come
Ridge
off
Road.
of, they come off of this curve and go up into a nice secluded spot. They come off of Elmer Ladner, and all their trash cans are right here, and their mailboxes are here. We have 200 feet. You know, we're not pushed against them as far as things like
You
that.
have one keeping time, I'm sorry. 1 minute and 45 seconds.
Pretty fast. Okay.
So you go ahead and finish.
She's got to find a place.
Okay, so the last little part was kind of addressing things, and excuse me for interrupting, I was going.
No, you're fine.
That's fine.
Go ahead.
We sent a letter to our opposers, Charles and Lisa Thompson, and met them at the front of the property. Lisa Thompson thought the property was beautiful and mentioned a couple of times that there was no concern with the rental aspects. Their objection was in thinking that most of the properties on Elmer Ladner were more than 3 to 5 acres. There are 21 1+ acre lots on Elmer Ladner Road. Directly across the street from us is the 4 buildable 1 acre lots. 2 are occupied. All told, 7 of these lots are within a city block of the Thompsons' gated commercial entrance onto Wolf River Ridge Road where they reside. There's also another 13 properties that are less than 3 acres on Elmer Ladner. In closing, our intentions are to make smart, attractive use of our property, increasing values and beauty to the area, creating a high-quality addition to a great piece of land, an improvement to Elmer Ladner. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much.
And one quick thing, the people who complain are in between the Antioch, which has 17 rooms to rent, and a very big 20,000 square foot commercial building. He does work internationally. The person who complained is in between them. So, you know, as far as us destroying the neighborhood, we're a little late if we wanted to.
Okay, there's our timing.
You don't have time to rebut.
Okay, yeah. Oh, okay.
You'll have a little more time if there's
All right, should I just sit down?
Yes, please, thank you. Anyone want to take action or comment, or?
Is that yours?
Is there anyone on the opposing side?
Opposing side.
Anyone from the opposition would like to make a statement? Okay, what is your wish, board?
I'll defer to Supervisor Ladner, it's in his district, but it's
They're
okay.
not here, so I
Fine with it.
uphold the appeal. Motion to uphold the appeal.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to uphold the appeal. We have a second. Any further discussion?
Uphold the appeal.
Yes, to
What would
rule
be
in their
the
favor.
Reverse the planning commission.
Decision.
We do a
Reverse.
grant the appeal.
Grant the appeal.
There you go.
Uphold
Grant the
grant.
appeal.
Sorry.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to grant the appeal. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. We can go now?
Yes.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, all right. Back to where it was. All right, Mr. Bossy.
Eric, they were all notified of the hearing, huh?
Oh, yeah, everybody got their letter.
All right, recognizing Gerald Bussey to discuss the coalition efforts in Washington, D.C.
Good morning.
Good
Bill
morning.
Bussey, 2577 Chatham Court, Biloxi, 39531. I think Marlon has given a brief written report, so I'll try to not take too long, but fill in a few details and kind of tell you what the coalition is doing. And then in just a couple of minutes, we're going to ask for an executive session to consider potential litigation to protect the sound, and I'll explain more in that session if you are able to grant it. We had a very productive meeting in DC earlier in June. Dr. Paul Mickle joined Marlon and Robert Weigel and Keith Hurd and myself. Paul Mickle, as you know, is the head of the Northern Gulf Institute, which is Mississippi State's institute over at Stennis, one of the leading scientists. He was with DMR with regard to the microbiology and the biology of the Mississippi Sound. So we were able to meet with both senators in person, and after meeting with them, we met with their staffs for individually in a longer period of time for greater detail. We also met with Congressman Benny Thompson and Congressman Ezell and the staff for Congressman Trent Kelly. Congressman Guest was out of town, but Keith has talked to him since then, and I'm happy to report to you that all of our delegation, all 4 congressmen and both senators, are wholeheartedly in support of the mission of the Sound, and so glad that the Harrison County Board of Supervisors and Biloxi and Diverville and the others are taking the lead here. Just real quickly, in terms of action, by coincidence, happy coincidence, the day before we got there, the Corps of Engineers announced that they were beginning the Lower Mississippi River Comprehensive Management Study that Congress had authorized in 2019 after we went up there right before COVID and asked for some action, and they put into a bill at that point to have the Lower Mississippi study to take into consideration the environmental impact on the sound and others. Well, that study didn't happen because it was a $25 million 5-year study, required a match, which no one matched. So last December, Congress again made it 100%. So the good news about that is that they are required for the first time, the Corps, to consider the environmental impact of opening the Bonnet Carré on the Mississippi Sound. So we brought that to the attention of our, and thanked our congressional delegation, and we asked them to please make sure the Corps includes us, the coalition and its members, as key stakeholders at the hearings. This is a 5-year, $25 million study that the Corps is in charge of. And our congressional delegation agreed to do that. They will be sending a letter requesting, in a way demanding that it happen, and also to include the Mobile district of the Corps of Engineers in it, which had been left out. They're the most knowledgeable, and yet the New Orleans district let them out, so we want them included. Well, I want to really give a big shout out to Congressman Ezell, because by coincidence, the following week, he had the Corps in front of his subcommittee on water resources, and you may have seen, it was on TV, repeated, and he asked the questions that we had prepared and given to him, and did a great job and got him on record saying, yes, the coalition will be a key stakeholder, and are prepared to acknowledge that. So that's really important, because we can then present the science and the other information that we've gathered in the suit that Judge Girola gave us an order for, but and some more, which I'll tell you a little bit more about in executive session. So we did not get to meet with the National Marine Fisheries, however, although they're still required to consult with the Corps by September 30th. They were all, quote, out of town. But our delegation is very concerned about that, and we will be having some Zoom meetings with them at the National Marine Fisheries very soon to give that input. I should tell you that, as you may know, the Corps of Engineers dropped their appeal of Judge Girola's order about a week ago.
Okay.
And which in essence admits that we're correct, Judge Girola's correct, that the Bonnet Carré impacted the sound in 2019. So that's good law nationwide now, very, very important. We also, Senator Wicker, let me say that Senator Sandy Hyde-Smith is taking the lead on the letter to the Corps and will follow up to make sure that we're going to be included. It's not just in words only, but in action. Senator Wicker, we presented also the Mississippi Sound and Lake Pontchartrain Protection Act that Robert Weigel and I wrote several years ago, and asked them to consider introducing it. Senator Wicker said he would do that. He's going to vet it, of course. It has to go through a process of wordsmithing. But he was very eager to participate and help, and said that he would be having a hearing down here on the coast at our request sometime within the next 9 months to a year, the congressional hearing, which would really call attention to what we're trying to say and give the local fishermen and the Hotel and Motel Association, the tourism community, people on the ground here, a chance to make the record to the Corps and the others. I think the main takeaway, Marlon and I have talked about this a little bit, that from the Washington meeting, is that it's really important that we, as a coalition, really broaden our movement among the general public and become much more conscious as part of our public education effort that we're going to use some of the state money that we got to do that. But I think the more groundswell we can show in reality, publicly, will be very helpful to our delegation to compel the Corps and others to pay attention and take corrective measures. So, so we will be doing that as soon as the money that the legislature appropriated is available. We're waiting, I think, still waiting for a proposed contract from the DMR to the county for the Gomesa money, which is normal. I mean, it takes a while to get all that together. We will be meeting, Marlon and I are going to be talking with General Spraggins Thursday afternoon with Robert Weigel and Dr. Mickle generally about our whole agenda, and we'll be asking about that contract. But as soon as that's available, we'll be coming back to you and the appropriate officials, to Pam, really, to procure some of the stuff that we'll need for that. So we also have on the agenda today an application for you to approve the application that Pam prepared with a little help from me. For $3 million for Tidelands grant for fiscal year 25. That's to continue the work that the legislature appropriated for the current year and the next year. So that we'll be in the hopper and have plenty of time for the legislature to look at it and digest that. And it would also, if approved, would cover legal services as well, which the legislature didn't the first time. So I'm just alerting you to that. We'll also be coming back to you before the end of this month with applications for Gulf Coast Restoration Fund money for restoring the sound, some specific scientific measures that we think would be helpful, and also another Go Mesa application just to kind of have a backup in case that they don't use the Tidelands. We met with the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation also in DC. They have control of a huge amount of money. They gave $600 million recently to Louisiana for the mid-Barataria diversion. So we had a good meeting, I thought, with them, Marlon. They seem to be really not fully aware of our cause, because most of those Louisiana studies stop at the Louisiana line, even though the fish don't stop there, you know? So I thought we had a good, and we will probably during the next few months be preparing an application to National Fish and Wildlife Foundation.
And you know, even without a budget, you can go on all TV and they will talk about this. I mean, you don't have to wait for a budget to make this public knowledge.
Correct.
I guess it's just what I'm pointing out.
Yes, you're right, right.
And
So,
you may are going to address this, but the BP money?
I'm sorry?
BP money that is still available, is there?
One of the applications we'll be coming back to you with. There's several pots, as you know. We're going to ask for the various pots.
Restoration
and the development side of it. Of course, the biggest thing, you know, is restoring the oyster beds that have been destroyed. There is some money available. Some of it's already in place, but there's a great deal more. We'll be meeting Wednesday afternoon with the Mississippi State Extension Service, which has recently announced, you know, they got $2 million in the legislation to do a Mississippi Sound Estuarine program, which is extremely important. And we just want to make sure we're part of that process as well. So the rest of it, I would tell you in executive session if we could have a motion.
Is it potential litigation or?
For potential litigation to protect the Mississippi Sound.
Just one other information that I think, as a rule, all elected officials need to consider, especially in appropriating funds. For example, one of the issues, of course, is the wild oysters. It's obvious they've been decimated. And there are programs, and I think money being spent to redo those beds, to try to get those oysters back. It would be throwing good money after bad if we don't have some control, because, for example, if we were to open up Bonnie Carey Spillway again, and the same thing happens again, what might be an oyster bed recouping is going to be destroyed again.
And we need to include the oysterman, because if I had $1 for every oysterman that told me that project was gonna fail, I'd be rich, and it did fail. So somehow or another, we got to.
My point that I'm simply trying to make, we don't get control of the issues in reference to the damage to our sound. Redoing oyster beds, we're just going through a cycle to happen again. So that's why
we already had $10 million spent on oyster bed that's doesn't exist anymore. Pastor's Jam.
To Beverly's point, of course, the Mississippi Commercial Fisheries United Underwrite Brandley's group is part of the coalition. And most of the oystermen, including those who are no longer in business, are part of that. So we are definitely in tune with them. Ryan Bradley gave a very detailed affidavit in the case before Judge Girola, which laid out a lot of this. And of course, this is what we were saying in Washington, because they should already know all this. And unfortunately, the Corps of Engineers has not really been calling it to people's attention. Their mission, the Corps' mission by law, is public safety, to protect New Orleans and others from flooding. We think they have discretion to take into account the impact on oysters and everything else. This new Mississippi River Comprehensive Management Study compels them by law to do that. So we hope we're headed to where the Congress will ultimately change the law to say, you've got to figure a way to protect New Orleans and protect the Mississippi Sound. And that's our ultimate goal.
Thank you, Gerald. Do we need a motion for?
Just one other thing too, that might need to be pointed out. The algae bloom that causes the dead area. If we never open the Bonnie Carey spillway again, if we don't get any impact from them, that algae bloom is still a danger, because that's coming from the river itself, going out the mouth, and the phosphates and all and I think Gerald has alluded to this. To deal with that problem is going to really require a national program to reduce the phosphates, the animal waste, the fertilizers and stuff that is going into the river.
Coming down, there's 31 states in the
And Canada.
Basin, and Canada, two provinces now. Well, Marlon, you really well said, you hit the nail on the head there. This study that the Corps is having to do, they're compelled to look at the environmental impacts. When we make our presentations, which will be based on science and engineering, we'll be pointing out that exactly what Marlon just said. The Corps cannot consider environmental consequences without considering what's causing it, which is coming from animal farms and row crops up in the Midwest, and a number of other causes. So it is an extremely complicated set of factors here. And we just want to make sure that factors that affect Mississippi Sound are taken into account equally with everything else. And if so, then are there alternatives? We think there will be alternatives. Some of the money the legislature has given us, when we come back to you, we'll be wanting to hire some engineering experts to show that we believe, and we'll find out if it's correct, that the Marganza spillway can be opened sooner, and along with a new formula for opening the Bonnie Carey less, if at all, so that we don't get the algae blooms. I mean, make no mistake, we know this is very complicated. There are no really simple answers, but there are answers. And the questions, and we're asking the right questions now. So a couple of the points you just mentioned, I'll talk about in executive session, just for a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Gerald. Do we need a motion to go into executive session after this?
If you're gonna go down, yes. I mean,
Do you want to go down? Do you want to wait?
If there's not any others.
We don't have any other hearings or anything. All right, do we have a motion to go into executive session now?
I have a motion.
Just so we're clear, the record, that going into executive session to discuss litigation strategy and the Mississippi Coalition potential lawsuits. So
Yes.
that qualifies.
Do we have a second?
Correct.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to executive session. We'll be back. All right, Tim?
In the course of executive session.
We have.
Oh, I'm
sorry.
Sorry.
You said it, but it has to be recorded.
Has to be recorded.
It has
a
to be
motion.
recorded. It doesn't come out of
Motion
the-
to come out of executive session.
And we had a second with Supervisor Jones. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, Tim?
In the course of executive session, the board discussed the matter of strategy and potential litigation involving the Mississippi Sound Coalition. No action was taken in executive session.
Madam President, I'm prepared to make a motion.
Yes, sir.
Made. Order authorizing Gerald Blessey, Robert Weigel, and Board Attorney Tim Holloman to initiate appropriate legal action to protect and restore marine species in the Mississippi Sound.
Second. A resounding
Tied.
second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. That was it on that, right?
Number 6.
All right. Number 6. Do we need to tell everyone that we're back
Yeah.
in, or? Thank you, Scott.
You tell them.
Hey, thank y'all very much.
Scott.
Have a good 4th of July. Be safe.
Happy 4th.
To the sergeant at arms.
Yes.
Sergeant, and all.
Thank you, Gerald.
All right, number 6, order acknowledging receipt of spreading upon the minutes. Oh, wait.
Okay,
forgot. We consent agenda. Right. Consent agenda, items numbered 6 through 17, replaced on consent agenda, same appearing to be routine, non-controversial matters in which all supervisors are likely to agree. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 18, order acknowledging receipt of the 2023 real and personal property assessment rolls for the 1st and 2nd judicial districts of Harrison County, Mississippi, as presented by the tax assessor per section 273581, Mississippi Code of 1972, annotated. Motion?
Motion. Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 19, order approving in-county travel reimbursement for the tax assessor's office as listed. Motion? Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 20, order acknowledging receipt of and approving petitions for decreases to the 2022 real property roll as recommended by the tax assessor. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 21, order authorizing line item transfer from the tax collector's account 001-104-922, 001-104641, in the amount of $18,496.30 for flooring and glass partitions installed in the Biloxi tax collector's office within budget. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Just,
Anyone opposed?
either one.
Yeah, please speak up because sometimes you
Oh, I'm
kind of
sorry.
mumble, and I cannot hear seconds. Thank
Really?
you.
I've never been
both said
accused
it
of
at the same
mumbling
time.
in my life, but I will speak louder.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate that. I'm getting older.
That's okay. No, you're not. Okay, 22. Did you get the last two?
Yes, I
That made the
got-
motion?
Yes, ma'am.
22, order spreading upon the minutes personnel changes for the tax collector's office as listed and as on file with the payroll administrator and the human resources department.
We have a correction.
Madam President, there's a correction to that.
Okay.
Under
Oh,
B.
right.
The date
My
of
page was
the
changed.
starting date for these salary changes would be changed to 7/10, which is the new
Effective 7.
pay period, new pay period.
So effective 7/10.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Circuit Clerk, order adjudicating and approving the emergency purchase for printing 53,000 notification and voter registration cards, window envelopes, letter of explanation, and estimated postage to mail notification of redistricting, and the deadline to be printed and mailed out by July 3rd, 2023. The order had to be placed with Absolute Print Solutions no later than Friday, June 22nd, 2023. The cost of printing was $28,575, plus an estimated cost for postage of $32,000, which brings the total amount of the purchase to $60,575, payable to National Forms and Systems Group Incorporated from 001-102-604, and authorizing a budget amendment. Motion?
Motion.
Second discussion. You know, is this the one with the little addition in reference to the contract? Are we comfortable with this?
Yes, I mean, the board will recall the county approved the contract based on recommendation of the circuit clerk previously, but that company, according to the circuit clerk, was not
unable to meet that.
performing. Well, and they dispute that, but, I mean, the circuit clerk is the one that's on the hook if there's a problem. I say on the hook. She's the one that's got to get this stuff out in time.
Okay.
In time for the voters to be able to get the information. So she said it was an emergency. I don't disagree with her. She had to get it done. If the other company makes a claim, they're really not gonna have any damages because they didn't do any work.
Isn't this kind of late to be doing this?
I think
Well, I
their
mean,
printer
she-
broke and they'd spend more buying a new printer to give us the cruddy old cards than moving
Yeah,
forward.
she had to do it Otherwise, we're gonna meet the deadline
No, this was
of today. So, I disagree with her. It's an unusual situation, but I think she had to do it.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 24, order approving low quote purchase for Premier CDJR for a 2023 two-wheel drive half-ton crew cab truck in the amount of $38,596.51, payable from 001-155-915, and authorizing county administrator to transfer funds in the amount of $6,596.51 from account 001-155-542 to complete this purchase. Motion?
motion.
Second discussion, is that zone? Is that you?
No, it's code.
Who?
It's code.
Code? Oh,
Yes, sir.
okay.
That was my question.
I
Any
was
further
just wondering why
discussion?
Eric would need a crew cab. Of course, that's all you can get if you get in the truck now.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 25, order awarding the bid for removal of underground storage tanks at 17413 Landon Road, Gulfport, MS, to Kirk Ladner Excavating Contractors, Inc., for the base bid price of $36,164, based on their lowest and best bid total, and authorizing board president to execute documents after legal review, as recommended by Jacqueline Turner, P.E., Harrison County Engineer. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion?
Can I ask a question about this? There was some information I got, there may be some more tanks out there. Did they ever figure that out?
The other ones that came to our attention were able to be avoided, because they didn't need to be added.
Oh, good. I didn't know that.
Big gas.
Yeah, thank God.
Oh, this is a big celebration.
It sure is.
It's all part of it.
Yes.
Let me clarify that the first extra ones needed to be handled and got included. The second additional ones could be avoided on this.
Okay.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Yeah, we ought to wait till they come out of the ground before we celebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. All right, 26, order approving travel in-county vehicle for firefighters Michael Grosh and Heath Sidaway, Fire Services, to attend the following classes in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Motion?
Motion.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 27, order approving travel for youth courts, prosecutors, and public defenders to attend the 2023 Fall Youth Defender Certification Training, Fall 2023 Parent Defender Certification Training, held September 20th through 22nd in Olive Branch, Mississippi. It's this year, by the way. Motion?
Motion. Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 28, order approving travel for youth courts, prosecutors, and public defenders to attend the 2023 Fall Public Defender Conference, October 25th through 27th, 2023, in Jackson. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. I'm going to take number 30 off because I want to wait on that. Number, did I not do 29?
29.
Oh, sorry. Order approving personnel changes for youth court as listed below. Motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And fairgrounds, I'm going to take that off. I think we're going to put
Okay,
that
so
in.
You gonna table it, or?
Well, 30, I think I'm just going to take it off because we're
Okay.
going to
We're
look.
gonna deny it and then let it be re-put on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
Or we can just table it.
Whatever.
If you table it, it stays on the agenda, so it has to come back up.
So motion
And the clerk
to
has to
deny.
look with it.
Yeah. Second.
Okay.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry,
Anyone
what was
opposed?
the motion?
So 30 is
Deny?
just to deny. I'd rather just take it off, but if we need to
Well,
deny.
you can move to delete it from the agenda. How about
Okay,
that?
let's move to delete it
Rather
from
than
the
deny
agenda.
it.
Right.
Yeah, because I don't want it to
it
make it seem, because we desperately need it, but I think I want to go a different route and maybe put it as part of our master plan. I'm trying to get.
From the agenda.
You can make a motion to delete it from the agenda. I think that's appropriate. instead of table, that way it can just
Make
be
a
put
motion
back
to
on there
delete
when
from
it's
the
ready.
agenda.
Thank you.
Second, withdraw the
But
other.
you're not making it look like
Withdraw
you
the
did.
Like you denied it,
Agenda.
exactly. All right, all those in favor say aye. Motion carries. Okay. Sand Beach, order accepting the proposal of Brown, Mitchell, and Alexander for engineering services for beachfront resilience project in Harrison County, based on the recommendation of the selection committee and the Sand Beach director, authorizing board president to execute the agreement after review by the board attorney and MDEQ's approval. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 33, order concurring with the planning commission's decision, sorry.
Zoning recommends concurring with the planning commission recommendations for cases 33 through 40.
Motion to concur.
Got a motion, a second, any further discussion?
Loaded you up, Marlon.
All
All
those,
it needed if it wasn't be for District 3, it wasn't even needed, so.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 41, order approving payment of claims listed to be paid from the tort account. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 42.
Madam President, can I
Yes.
ask the engineer something? I'm sorry, Jackie. If you have a subdivision or zoning, either one of y'all, if you have a subdivision that's going in and they are causing damage to, like, say Jim Bird Road, I had a complaint the other day, heavy trucks, can we ask a contractor to provide a bond? Or no? Or Tim, that might be a Tim
You
question.
know that's a city project and that's a city road.
Well, part of it is and part of it isn't.
Yeah, but where their building is,
Uh-huh.
I have to drive over it to my property every day.
So when you see they're tearing up the road with
It's
those
the
heavy
They
trucks.
have the pipe collapsed in the road is what they've done.
Uh-huh. So,
I don't know how
how
that
would we
would work.
proceed on that? Just call the city and say,
Mm-hmm.
you got a
Blame
pipe?
the city, but they're the ones that control that, where they have to repair it, so.
So the road is both in city and county, I know
Well,
that,
if they're
but,
damaging a portion of the
Way north
county,
is
then the
the
county
county
can do
road.
something about it. I mean, can't require a bond, but they're apparently not in the city.
You're talking about the culvert south of that new subdivision that's going in at the bottom of the hill?
yeah, it says brick, I think we just had some work done on them too. We
I've
just
been in contact
went in
with the
and
city.
helped them, we helped them build that road, pave the road.
Been in contact with the city of Biloxi, they're waiting on the pipe, supposedly.
Okay.
It's been
Will you
months.
keep an eye on that for me, Tim?
Trust me, it's beating my vehicle.
I know, I'm getting complaints, they're city folk, but they're giving me complaints, so I'm just trying to help them. Thank you, I'm sorry. Thank
No,
you,
you're fine. You can
President.
ask and maybe put up signs. You know, it's a Savoy place up in the county, but it was a county thing, but we put up signs, no heavier trucks.
If it was a county
But
road,
it's city.
we could require
Yeah.
one.
But you could ask them to kindly do that, maybe.
Which city is it?
We might ask them, huh?
Is it really?
It's his district, five.
I'll ask.
I-
They
right,
like
Yeah,
me.
would you?
They like me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask.
They don't mess with me.
All right, we're on 42.
What's the name of the street?
Jim Bird.
Order concurring with the county administrator on employment as listed and as on file with the payroll clerk and personnel human resources department. Motion?
Motion.
Second. Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 43, order concurring with the road manager on employment as listed and as on file with the payroll clerk and personnel human resources department. Motion?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 44, order concurring with the Sheriff's Department on employment as listed and as on file with the payroll clerk and personnel human resources department. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 45, order concurring with the intervention court on personnel changes as listed and as on file with the payroll clerk and personnel department.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 47, order designating any board of supervisor, purchase clerk, chancery clerk.
Did you
or
miss
department-
46?
Did I?
46.
Thank you. 46, order rescinding order of June 12, 2023 regarding the retirement of Dennis Adams, building superintendent, D'Iberville Community Center, effective 6/30/2023, correcting his retirement date to 9/30/2023. Motion?
Motion. Second.
Discussion?
I'm not sure I like the language, order rescinding, or rescinding the order, it should just be corrected.
Should just be amending the order.
If you rescind the order, then you don't have it, I don't know what the order was on June
It
12th.
was to accept his retirement
Resignation.
as of June
We just
12th.
You can rescind it and
Now
then do
he's
a new
moved it to
order,
September.
accepting his resignation effective 9/30.
How about we just restate it and amend, order amending,
There you go, that'd be great.
order amending June 12th to retirement date of from 6/30 to 9/30.
Okay, correct.
So we have a motion and a second with that. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 47, order designating any board of supervisor, purchase clerk, chancery clerk, or department head as needed as the board's representatives to receive bids to purchase 10 police pursuit vehicles for the Harrison County Sheriff's Office to be open Thursday, July 6th of this year at 9:30 a.m. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Recognizing Sheriff Troy Peterson as he reports the number of persons currently housed in the Harrison County Jail.
Good morning. 709,
Afternoon.
52 misdemeanors, 123 females, 23 federal inmates, and 227 MDOC inmates, with 41 of them loaded.
Wow.
That's a lot. Okay, anything else, Sheriff?
No?
All right. All right, number 49, order authorizing a budget amendment in the amount of 1 million, okay, just making sure I'm looking at the numbers right.
There's a
To
lot
the
of
sh-
zeros.
yeah, to the sheriff's budget line 001-200-902 for the Harrison County Law Enforcement Training Academy. Motion.
Second discussion. This 1 million will eventually come out of that new bond, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what, just making sure. That's what I
Good
thought.
question.
Unless y'all got it sitting around in
Oh, yeah,
a
yeah.
hole somewhere.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 50, authorizing advertisement for a term bid for equipment and installation in sheriff's office patrol vehicles. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion?
Is this for the new ones? Or-
Yes, ma'am.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 51, order authorizing the road department to make necessary drainage repairs before repaving recommended by the county engineer at the Harrison County Sheriff's Office Work Center. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 52, order authorizing the low quote purchase of a small unmanned aerial surveillance drone from Brink Drones, Inc. in the amount of $29,999, payable from 001-200-613, and authorizing county administrator to transfer said funds from 001-11-432. Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 53, order approving the attached line item transfers within the sheriff's budget.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 54, order authorizing advertisement for a reverse auction bid for a new forward-looking infrared system for the sheriff's office helicopter. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 55, order authorizing disposal of assets per attached list and authorizing inventory clerk to remove the same from inventory. Motion?
Motion. Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 56, order approving mileage reimbursement for travel for the following employees. Motion?
Motion. Second. Discussion. There was a question about number L. Did we, for legal?
Yeah, Tim addressed it.
Volunteer versus
I did,
employee.
She isn't a county employee, so she's entitled to her county policy reimbursement mileage. And there were two questions, one about traveling to Stone County, and another one about going to Gulfport Behavioral Health, I think. And Judge Alfonso said, confirmed that both of those were related to her job as a county employee. She had to go to Stone County to visit, make sure some family interviewed somebody that was involved with a child. And then the same thing was at Gulfport Behavioral Health. So they appear to be in line, according to Judge Alfonso.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 57, order authorizing the reimbursement to the road fund 150000360 in the amount of $609.58 for drilling work performed for Tidelands Long Beach Volleyball and Pavilion Project, payable from 324-525-581, details attached. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. Oh,
I'm sorry, can we also add an authorized interfund loan to that order until we
With
get
Long Beach?
reimbursement?
That wasn't my
That's coming out
discussion,
of
if I may.
Tidelands, Jennifer.
That's my understanding, yes, sir.
Supervisor Martin?
Yeah, Supervisor Ladner, I was over there this past weekend and that outfall is still uncovered. Are you aware of that?
Yeah,
Remember
I
we
don't know
mentioned
if we
it?
I don't know if
It's
the
pretty
outfall, the
bad.
outfall is in the lower portion of it, I don't think.
It's right by that, go
That's
look
something
at it,
we-
it's right by that
We can
net.
look at it, I don't know if we need to put a fence or something up, we'll
Something.
definitely look at that.
Cause I was over there this weekend and it is right there.
Yeah.
And I could see somebody, oh, yeah.
Yeah. We mentioned that the last meeting and someone said they could just cover it.
Well, I
We
know, but
covered
maybe a
ours over
fence,
there
but I
at
wouldn't
visitor,
look to-
welcome to Biloxi, welcome to the Gulf Coast.
Yeah, that's covered.
We covered it with that composite lumber so they could pick it up and clean it.
Could we
easily.
request that the Sand Beach does that, or?
It's right on the west side, Marlin, right by the pavilion, there's two nets right there and that outfall. It's covered for a little bit, but then it's wide open, there's no fence or anything. So I'll just bring it up, cause I can see somebody.
Is this the Long Beach Pavilion?
Yeah. Isn't
That
it
was an
where
issue in
the
the case we
volleyball
had.
courts
Yeah.
are?
Yeah.
should we
We
make,
put up a fence to cover it.
A fence?
well, you could just cover it with the composite boards.
Composite, you know, like Marlon, like we did down there at the the welcome to the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
On Lorraine?
On one side it's big, we put composite sections and then they just pick them up when they need to clean it.
So we're gonna add within that motion for interlocal agreement with the city of Long Beach, right? Who made the motion?
We already have an interlocal agreement.
What is it?
Jennifer was just saying we needed to maybe mention in that, amend that to say within the interlocal agreement?
No, ma'am. And authorize
We
interfund
don't
loan.
need interfund loan. We don't need an
Interfund
interlocal
loan.
agreement. That's a county, that's county. Interfund loan.
So do we already have that?
Yeah, well, the reason she's asking for the interfund loan is because we're gonna wait for reimbursement from Thailand. So she needs to go ahead and pay the invoice out, she can get an interfund loan. That's why she's asking for the interfund loan.
So is the person who
And
made
we'll
that
get
motion, should they
we'll
say
get
that?
reimbursed for it.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
got that.
You got it?
Yeah, and in my remarks, should I say we're waiting on a recommendation from the Sand Beach Director?
That would be separate, I don't think
That's
it's in order there.
separate.
No, no, just as a remark.
Discussion.
Yeah, I guess.
I just brought
Yeah, just so, because who's gonna follow up?
Jennifer, I'm not sure
I would put it in there so we follow up.
$609, I presume that's still within the cap of the interfund, of the Thailand monies. I don't know if we still got
I
any
believe that
time
it
in, like-
is based on the conversation that I had with Karen Oye.
Okay, good.
But if it's not, then we can, at a later date, just do a
Take
transfer
care,
from
yeah.
wherever to cover it.
I don't think the nets and all that we put in were part of the Thailand. I think we're paying for that out of another fund.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 58, order authorizing the reimbursement to the Bridge Fund 160-000-361 in the amount of $194.40 payable from Sand Beach Fund 156-355-639 for signs made. Details attached. Motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 59, order authorizing the reimbursement to the Road Fund 150-000-360 in the amount of $663.03 for work performed on the Wool Market walking track payable from the Special Levy Reappraisal Escrow Fund 002-100-581. Details attached.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 60, order authorizing the reimbursement to the General Fund 001-200-542 in the amount of $27.27 payable from the Fire Services Fund 106-250-542 for work performed on a vehicle. Details attached. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Order acknowledging the receipt of the May 2023 travel and procurement card as follows.
Motion.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 62, order authorizing the interfund loans and repayments per attached schedule. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 63, order approving claims docket for Mississippi Code of 1972 annotated section 1913-27. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 64, order approving payment of the following claims.
Can I make a suggestion on these
Sure.
These kind of for behavioral health, and
Yeah.
behavioral health bills, which is C through F. I think, we'll make sure it's not a no.
CD.
Can we table those?
Yeah, motion
Let
to
me make
table
sure that those
C3.
comply with the agreement. They're supposed to have a court order.
I actually had that on my notes as well, so I'll make that motion to table C3.
Okay. Do we have a second to table C through F?
Motion. Second.
Hold on, John, may want.
Hold on, just a second, please.
Sure.
Our practice is that when we have a professional petition support and ask for an order to continue treatment, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the agreement, as I recall it, so they charge us $800 a day. They can go 7 days, which is.
Right.
And these bills, some of them.
These are all
beyond
for
that 7 days, just to get another order.
What I have in place is, they don't submit the invoice without the court order extending it. So let me
That's okay.
verify that. If you want to go ahead and table it and take it up next Monday.
We got a motion and a second.
But I'll email you the order.
Just make sure they're compliant.
Yeah.
That's what we have.
It has to go, anything exceeding
And it's a
7
professional.
days has to go back to the court for an order to continue.
Extending it.
That's right.
Extending the treatment.
Right.
Past 7 days.
And it's their obligation to get that order. If they did, they're not entitled to be paid for those days beyond the 7 days. That's where
Right,
we're.
we'll follow up on that. And that's C and E.
C through F.
And another issue in reference to that, what's the total there? It's about
It's a lot.
60,000?
No, it was like, what?
No, I'm sorry. 40,000 total.
That would be tacked on.
Listen, since, I don't know when the specific date was, but sometime around January, if not earlier, we've been having beds available at CSU. And I'm just curious why we're getting that type of bill with the contract if we have available beds at CSU.
Well, you remember this, they are sent the packet, CSU is, and the private facilities, if they do not have insurance, the coverage, Oceans and GBH do not take them down, pre-hearing stage. So after commitment is the only time that the agreement kicks in. And it's a judge's order placing them. Now, my point is, they've already been refused and it's sent to CSU. We don't send them until we hear from CSU that they will not take your indigent patient.
So what you're telling me is that the bills we're paying for those patients, CSU had an opportunity to
absolutely
either accept or reject.
My question
and those
is,
people have been rejected. Then I think we need to, why are so many being rejected? What criteria? I mean, I know they say violence.
Well,
They
first
won't
of all, it
accept any-
starts with the state of Mississippi. The state of Mississippi has an obligation. We send it to the state hospital. They don't even answer us. So you have a person sitting there that's been committed that needs to be placed for treatment. The next option is CSU. CSU then doesn't take the patient for some reason. And you have an indigent person and they qualify for treatment under the board supervisor agreement. That's when they're placed there.
I guess the question that I'm asking is, all these people are not meeting the criteria of CSU?
It's the only reason why we're placing
I've
them.
asked them on several occasions, and I don't recall what all, but I
It
do know that
was
violence and drug, alcohol and drug abuse.
At the time,
Right.
COVID.
or medical issue.
Or medical issues that would have to be treated. Gosh, seems to be a lot of
That's too
patients.
many. All right, Supervisor Martin has a
If I may,
question.
at the meeting the other day, at the mental health meeting,
Yeah.
you were there, we were told the opposite. What we were told was that the chancellor clerk is sending these packets out at all the same time. And I thought the board said to check with CSU first, and then if they can't take them, to send it to the rest. But what I was told in front of all of us the other day was that they were all being sent at the same time, and it was kind of a first come, first served. So
No,
whatever
that-
hospital,
that is wrong.
whatever
That's a lie.
hospital got it
That's wrong.
first.
I know you want to believe her,
That's
but
what we were
wrong.
told.
I'm telling
No,
you.
that's what we were told.
Let me tell you this.
You weren't
We
there.
send a packet. 4 hours
That's what we
later,
were told.
CSU responds.
Is it first come, do you send it to everybody at
No.
the same time?
If they have a payer source and they have insurance, you have two more options that you're not paying for, which is the private facilities.
But
So-
do you send the packet at all the same time?
Beverly, how
That's my
many
question.
years have I been telling y'all?
You
what
don't,
we
you
do?
haven't.
Look, do that all day.
I mean,
Do that all day.
it's a yes or no.
Act like you don't
It's a
care
yes
what
or
I have
no
to say,
question.
you never
All right.
have,
I'm
for the
just
last
saying.
3 years.
Well, I'm just curious,
You
because we're
listen
getting
to
a
people in
total
Hattiesburg that
opposite.
has nothing, I'm an elected official in this county, and you don't believe me.
I'm not saying I don't believe you. What
Yeah,
I'm
y'all
saying
call
is,
each other
I'm
all the
told-
time.
No, we don't. I was told in front of these
I
other
know,
gentlemen.
I
at the
know, I
same
already
time.
had a meeting with Kevin Felcher and, your appointee about this, and Tim. So, I know what we
Probably had the
do,
same question.
and I know what they lie about, which is everything out of their mouth.
John, what happened, before we, went into the services of Pineville?
Mhm.
What happened to these people like this?
Well,
That we're paying the private hospital for? What happened to them? Because we didn't have a contract with the private hospital under the old, system.
no,
I don't know what was happening to them, and that, it never came before the board that I recall any issues. So
well, they had a different criteria that they accepted and worked real close with, at the time, it was Memorial Behavior. So it's just different. And what we had in place before was deputized employees there that played the role of taking the affidavit, just like our clerks do now, and then going to the judge. So it's a big change, but I can assure you that the opportunity is not a first come, first served. They're number one. That's their first. But pre-hearing, they have told us they don't have to take anybody on pre-hearing. So you understand the initial placement of this individual
for evaluation
and assessment is on the county. And what's happening, the county puts them in an emergency room when they don't have a bed at CSU, or they say they can't take them. So then when they're committed and they're indigent, the first one we go to is the state and the CSU, and the state doesn't take them and CSU doesn't take them. Then you have an indigent sitting there, and we have to place them with the private facilities. But it's false information as usual from Pineville.
Well, they have agreed to meet with us once a month, so we can keep a closer eye on the individual patients. And is that something that you met and it went well?
What I would like is,
John, you
and I know
really need
you
to
gotta
get
have.
the meeting.
I'm not meeting.
I would like to know if you take each one of these patients that we're paying $40-some thousand in this particular agreement. I would like to know about each one of those patients, why they were not treated at or evaluated at CSU.
They'll tell you their story. That's what they do on the phone with us. Now, by statute, they're required to list the reason.
I haven't seen it.
It's a new statute, and we're going to report that to the director of mental health.
I would like to see that, because
That's from this day forward. We used to just get a phone call. We're not taking them.
So from this day forward, in writing, patient X, they'll say why they turned them away.
Why they rejected them.
Right. And Tim and I, we're going to try to get with the judges, and let's set a methodology that everyone has to abide by. And the court will sign off. All 4 judges will say, this is what's in place for the court, not the clerk, the court. And that's all the clerk does, is play a role for the court.
Because in reality, we're double paying. When we have to pay those hospitals this money, we're actually double paying, because we're paying CSU or Pineville, but the services are not being performed. Yeah, we are. $2.1 million.
Not according to them, that's for services. So and I've told Tim this and Tricia, I've suggested that budget hearing, you bring them in and expand and identify the services for involuntary commitments, which means they have to tell you, hey, this is what we're going to do. If we can't take them, we're going to take another step forward and contact the state and the other CSUs to get them to take it. I've been preaching that for 3 years.
Yeah. Well, is it possible to contract or go with CSU to do it? What's the terminology? Charge per patient?
Yes. Well,
for example, not just have a general contribution of
Itemized.
$2.1 million, but start charging per patient.
say this, look, and I've talked about this, we met with Leonard and Kevin, and we went through the whole process. The process of involuntary commitment is statutory. It's not the board's purview to regulate that. The board, what the statute literally says is, if there's not a bed available at the community, I won't say hospital, but not hospital, then the judge orders them to be sent to any other physician hospital that's available, and the county shall pay the bills. That's on involuntary commitment. So it's really statutory, which is why I've tried to emphasize, and I think we're going to try to do this, is to get the court to enter a standing order so we can eliminate all of this back and forth about who's doing what. try to get some
Go to see
court order that says, this is the way it's gonna be done.
Step one.
And well, there's another issue that kind of gets lost, and that is the initial, somebody comes into John's office and wants to file a commitment on their relative. The clerk is really just the clerk. I don't mean to demean or diminish, they take the documents that are filed, and that's all they're supposed to do. And then they take it, present it to the court. And the court then orders what's supposed to be done. The problem is, what's falling on the clerk's back is the judges don't have anybody to do it, so
To locate the
they're directing the clerk to go do all this work that they're not really qualified to do. They do it out of necessity.
I'm qualified.
Well, you're qualified, I don't mean it that way, but they're not supposed to do it, is a better way to put it. And so they've been forced all these years to help the court to do it. Now, in talking with Pine Belt, and we had this in the Zoom meeting, I was by Zoom, but the other day, they agreed that the first process is the application of the affidavit, a petition that's gonna be filed. Somebody has to evaluate whether the person submitting the affidavit is telling the truth or not. Are they just mad at their spouse, you know, going through a divorce, whatever the issues may be that may not be, the affidavit's not true. So somebody has to evaluate. There's nobody that's able to do that right now. The clerk takes the affidavit, she's presenting it to the judge, sometimes over the telephone. The judge is not talking to this person, because he can't, he's at home or she's at home. So this petition gets filed. That person, once the judge says, okay, they need to be evaluated, they're picked up. The deputies go out and pick them up and take them to have a 2-day, sometimes 2 days, evaluate. You're arrested effectively and put in there, and
you're held.
You're held without any ability to even respond to it at all, which is wrong. Now, Pine Belt agreed that they would have somebody available 24/7, they said, so it remains to be seen, to do those pre-evaluations instead of what's happening now is somebody comes in, files an affidavit, the clerk takes the affidavit and then calls the judge and says, here's the affidavit, judge, what should we do? The judge says, have them evaluated. So they go pick them up and bring them in and have them evaluated. Nobody's ever looked at this person that's filing the affidavit and asked questions to make sure they're telling the truth.
May I have the floor, ma'am?
Yeah.
President?
Yes.
We had this in place with the sheriff's cooperation, and they were not taken to a holding facility first. They were taken to Pine Belt so they could be
assessed.
Well, evaluated. The assessment is the doctor and the psychologist. So
okay.
The Pine Belt professionals the deputies would go in the back of the building on Broad Avenue, take the respondent in there, and they would
do a pre-val.
They do a pre-val and make the recommendation that this person needs
to go to
future treatment, which means the involuntary process continues. So the involuntary means that you got to be held until a doctor or a psychiatrist can determine that you need to go a step forward for the commitment hearing. So you have to understand, it's the board's responsibility to provide a avenue and a resource to hold for the court, not the clerk. The court is needing this this assessment. So they would leave Pine Belt and take them to wherever we found out they'd take them, which is normally an ER if CSU has turned them down. And most of the time they would turn them down until they got a medical assessment. So they will be put in emergency room. One day we got a call and by Alex, it says we're no longer doing this. Didn't talk to me, told that to Beth that was upstairs. And I asked her why it was stopped. She said, they just said that they have enough going on where they can't have someone there at the building to do the pre-eval. So it stopped. Now I'm hearing they didn't understand why it stopped, like it was us. Sheriff vouched for that.
That's what they told us.
That's what they told us
last week.
See, that's a lie again. It's the lines that I've been dealing with for
Because
3
the
years.
sheriff didn't, even know that it had stopped, right?
Yeah, I wasn't aware of it.
He wasn't even
In fact,
aware
I
that
said it was
stopped.
Broad Avenue and they corrected me.
Right.
Do what now?
I said the pre-vals were done at Broad Avenue and they corrected me and
You
said
can
they were
ask,
not.
you can ask transport, they were stopped. We had to stop them because we were told, quit doing it that way.
So what's the law on that, Tim?
It's the law is that they're supposed to do that. That's
I
the
think they're
statute.
supposed to do it.
They're supposed to
They
do
said
it.
in the Zoom meeting they would start doing it together.
Okay. Is that in the contract? Do we need to
No,
amend
it's
that?
not in a contract. We don't
It's
have a
law.
contract with them. We have a statute and we have joined their catchment area. And they provide whatever services that a member of the catchment area is entitled to. And so
Well-
if we need to be more specific, that's why I say, everybody says, let's do an agreement. You have to enforce an agreement. If we get a standing court order of what's gonna be done, the judges can take care of any problems, just like that.
Right, but I have reached out to Trish. We could not find language where they had your services with them for the 2.1 million spells out their services for involuntary commitments.
That's part of the statute.
Get that.
Huh?
That's part of the statute.
No, I'm talking about the catchment area agreement.
I understand that.
That's- And we're paying 2.1 million on the catchment agreement. Right?
Yeah, well.
Okay, but it doesn't mention involuntary commitments for the court. I've asked that y'all
We can do that if we want to, but it's
identify.
better. There's a statutory procedure if if we can get the judges to enter a standing court order, this is what they shall do.
Well, let's just do
We're
it.
not gonna have
Yeah.
It
no
seems
problem.
like that's what we
That'd be easy.
Yeah.
joined
The
Pine
catchment.
Belt
I
for,
agree.
to provide all the mental health
Right.
services that Harrison County is legally obligated to provide. Well, apparently something's wrong. Something's
Exactly.
not happening there because now
Yeah.
we're paying
Yep.
hundreds of thousands, if you look
Right.
over a period of time, hundreds of thousands to these folks to provide those services.
It ruined my health. Worried about this.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, if
My viewpoint of what
If these
occurred.
people are providing the legal services that we're obligated to provide, then somebody's
Let
not
me-
doing it. CSU is, Pine Belt is not doing
Let me
something.
explain one thing, I think, that, and I wasn't here then, but just looking at things, what occurred, and John said it a moment ago. Previously, it was Memorial Behavioral Health, okay? So what would happen when CSU wouldn't take somebody is they would go to Memorial Behavioral Health. Memorial Behavioral Health is a community hospital, publicly funded.
Right.
So the county never saw any bills from Memorial Behavioral Health.
They went to Gulf
Because,
Oaks too. I know
well,
for a
some of them
fact.
went to Gulf Coast.
Gulf
Right.
Oaks.
Yep, right, Gulf Oaks, I'm sorry.
Or to be.
Yeah,
And,
I know
and
for
so,
a fact.
that's why now you don't have Memorial Behavioral Health, it was sold
Right.
as Gulfport Behavioral Health now. And so they're private, so now the court order, instead of going to Memorial Behavioral Health, you're going to Oceans or you're going to Gulfport Behavioral Health, so now you're seeing bills, that's the reason you never saw bills before.
We did.
Now, I'm not sure about Gulf Oaks and whether there were bills that came from them, but because the preference was Memorial Behavioral Health. Now, I say poor Memorial, that a lot of these people that can't go to Memorial Behavioral Health now are being taken to the emergency room and sit there for 5 or 6 days.
Yes.
Which is a big nightmare. That shouldn't happen.
It's 3 emergency rooms.
As part of the new diversion center, we're gonna have to come to some that stops this issue of this going around in circles.
I thought that's what we're doing.
I
Well, you're
think we
saying the
are.
answer is a standing court order from a judge.
Now, we haven't talked to the judges about this yet, so
We're trying.
Well, no, that would be our request.
yeah, we're gonna talk to the judge. I think the judges will do it because they had a problem recently. And they will, I think they understand if they will do this, if we can get them to do it, that will be solved. And now, Pine Belt's not gonna like it because it's gonna be a court order, not a contract.
Well, I would hope after we invest in the new diversion center, which is gonna cost Harrison County $1.5 million to start, and then probably roughly $1 million a year to maintain, that we don't get bills from private hospitals for over $100,000 a year. and pay for that too, the
Exactly.
diversion center as well.
That's what I tried to fight. I tried to get where we could, as clerk, we would have to reach out to these vacant beds throughout the state to see if they take them. But when a clerk calls another medical facility, they said, we're not taking them. What I wanted Pineville to take a role, take a step further to say, we cannot help Harrison County with this committed indigent person. Can you take them? And let them reach out and place them.
May I call
Yeah.
the question?
Yes.
Yeah,
All right,
I'm
so
sorry.
we
We got a long-
are,
this-
we have a motion to table C through F, and let's,
And approve the rest.
and approve the rest. Do you have a second?
Second, we have a motion to second.
Look,
I
All
made
those
the
in
motion,
favor
she
say
made the
aye,
second.
let's just take that out.
just discussion.
Okay.
We gotta pay these bills. Now, Tim's gonna determine whether
Well,
they're
no, I'm gonna do that.
you're gonna determine whether they meet the
Well, I may send
criteria.
it back and say you didn't get a court order.
Yeah.
Follow the agreement.
I think they need to follow the contract
Right, we have
if
to
we're
figure
I'll
out.
handle
gonna
that.
pay them.
That's
Okay,
why
that's what I thought we
tabling.
were doing up there, but I'll
C
double
through
check.
F.
And we meet next week, so, all right, all those,
6
And
days.
just so you know, we had a long meeting with Kevin Belcher and them, and had all these things we just talked about, we talked with them. I think everybody's trying to get on the same page.
all right. All those,
Been trying.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, so the motion included approving everything else, right? Tabling
Correct.
C through F, all right.
Thank you.
65, order authorizing issuance of duplicate warrants as listed for certificates and affidavits filed with the Chancery Clerk. Motion,
Motion.
Second.
discussions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 66, order adjudicating a salary correction as calculated by and recommended by the Chancery Clerk for the Harrison County Justice Court judges who are paid a regular salary, excludes retirees, to $2,339.82 per pay period, beginning with the June 30th, 2023 pay date. This is to bring the salary into compliance with Mississippi Code Section 25336 and the Attorney General's opinion to Brandon Ladner, dated May 18th, 2023. Motion?
Motion.
Second. Now this is lower in the pay, correct?
No,
I thought that, I read the
I can apologize for all this.
AG.
It's a very convoluted statute. And what happened real quick is the legislation created a study committee, and they went around the state. They wanted to address population decreases. It's like most counties in the Delta were losing population. So they're concerned that the justice court judges would take a salary decrease. So they based it on the 2008 census, and you had two ways of applying a raise, which meant the population formula that was there for years disappeared. Anyway, long story short, we underpaid them, then we overpaid them, and then they are underpaid. So it all comes out to these, y'all have there's no attachment.
Yes, there are AG opinions on there.
I don't see it on mine. Oh, there they are. I see it now.
There is
Yeah,
on 80, on
I'm sorry.
66.
If you have any questions on that, we had to go back to 2020 and forward because it's 3-year statute of limitations. And so we're asking Tim on the item number 68, if your permission, of course, when you give him the authority to do so, is to clarify if it was statutory 2016, can you go back that far? Which we did miss because the board got a raise in 2016, $1,000 a year, and that was not applied to the justice court judges because 3% was less than the $1,000 a year. So you're supposed to add, it makes no sense, but you have two ways of determining their salary. One is by 103% of the 2008 payment based on population. Okay, that makes sense? No.
Yeah. I
None of
take
it
your
does.
word for it, because.
But the second way, it's commensurate amount, which means if y'all got 1,000, they get 1,000. because it's higher than the 3%.
Well, let me ask you,
At the end of the
on
day,
this issue, we approve, let's say we approve the 66, which is adjudicating the salary correction, and then 67 is coming up for the reimbursement to the judges.
Right, for
Based on that correction. Then let me ask you, why wouldn't 66 and 67 wait for Attorney General's opinion? Is that what you're asking for?
Yeah,
what we're doing?
67 is because
Are you asking for an Attorney General's opinion in reference to what we're correcting up there, whether it's legal or not? I'm not sure. It seems
yeah, we
like
got the cart before the horse.
you get, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. If we, shouldn't we wait for an Attorney General's opinion to determine whether what we're doing in 66 and 67 is correct?
Well, in 67, you're talking about 3 years back to 2016. So we're not paying them. In 68, y'all are giving Tim the authority to reach out to see if you're obligated to pay from 16 to 19.
So we're not doing that here.
You're
No,
paying
not-
20 to 23 because that's within 3 years.
That's within the 3 years.
Right.
The question became is, can you go
Go back.
beyond 20?
And that's what your
More than
Attorney
3
General's
years.
opinion, that's what you was, okay.
I
That's
recommend
what I
we
need to
request
clear.
Tim and I think you're obligated to do it to the statutory, but he wants to make sure the auditors understand that we have an
That's kinda
official opinion on going past
So,
3 years of
They
statutory.
were shorted from 16 to 20. But that's more than 3 years.
So we're paying them, but there is a chance that they were overpaid from
16.
16 and through 19, correct?
Yeah, which is 1,000
So
a
it would
year.
be a wash.
We think they are underpaid from 16
They
to
were
20.
underpaid.
Yeah, well, they're underpaid.
Underpaid then and overpaid later.
So we would owe them, the ones that were in office, $4,000, because that's 4 years.
But then the question is, have they been overpaid the last 3 years?
It's crazy. So like I say, in 2020, we reached out to the auditor's office, a guy named John McCormick, and he said 3%. And we applied 3%, which was wrong. And then we go to 2021 and they say, we have a population that's over 200,000. So we based it on the population, overpaid them. Anyway, it all washes out and we owe them money, which is really the best thing.
Okay. And they named Judge Ladner, so it was the only one who was
To get it
affected.
back. Is that what you're
Right.
saying?
Well, we got so much with Social
Yeah.
Security.
He just
we got
saw
so
the
much-
opinion.
He's the one that
Gotcha.
wrote for the Attorney General.
Oh, gotcha.
All right.
So the first one is paying back for 20
Gotcha.
to 23. And that will be a supplemental payroll. And deductions will be taken out. But the first one was setting the correct salary for the ones that's in office now.
Okay. All right, Claudia, we voted on 66 already?
Yes, we did.
And 67?
Not on
No.
Now 67, all right. Order authorizing the Chancery Clerk Payroll Department to reimburse certain Justice Court judges as calculated by and recommended by the Chancery Clerk for any underpayment of salaries from January 2020 through June 16th of 2023. Motion?
That is confusing.
Motion.
I'll
It is.
second.
I can't.
Motion.
Discussion? All those in favor
I'm
say
sorry,
aye.
did we
Let me just say this, I'm not paying
Ken.
them till we get an opinion.
That's, thank you.
So once I get it, okay, I got you now.
Should we get the
Yeah, that's
opinion
what we're doing,
first?
I'm sorry.
That's what I asked.
Okay.
So should we just wait on this or
Wait
make
on
a
I
68.
hope we
substitute?
hurry up and get done with this before I get more confused.
Tim, what do you think?
You ought to try me.
Wait on 67?
No,
Until we
it's,
get the-
it's approved, giving me authority once we get the opinion to pay them.
He just won't pay them until we get the opinion.
Based
Yeah.
Okay.
upon receipt of the Attorney General's.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone confused? No, just kidding. Motion carries.
Let's bring back fond memories,
On
Ms. Cheryl.
67, you want me to be subject to receipt of the Attorney General's opinion?
That's what he
Right.
said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
You'll have to take action again because the AG's office said you can't pay it 16 to 20. I mean, 16 to 19, we'll have to come back and take action.
Even though you're approving it now.
You're not approving, it's approving
Yeah.
16 and 19.
That's one.
No, we're just approving the 20,
It says payroll department to reimburse certain judges. So that goes back to reimbursing Bruce Strong's estate.
That's from 20 to 23.
That's from 20 to 23.
We only did
We on
67.
67.
we approved
We haven't done
January
68.
2020 through June 16, 2023.
I'm sorry.
67.
So that one is okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're waiting for the Attorney General's opinion for the previous year.
Yes,
Yeah.
sorry, y'all.
Okay.
That's okay.
Golly.
That's what I'm saying, let's hurry up and get this done.
I want it done.
All right, 68, you good? Are you good
Yeah,
with 67?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
I was trying to figure it out myself. You confused me.
When the attorney is
I need to go take
confused,
my
I know
breath.
I'm confused.
We'll drink it over there. All right. 68, order authorizing the board attorney to request an attorney general's opinion on the reimbursement of the underpayment of justice court judge salaries from January 2016 through December 2019. Harrison County's liability, if reimbursement is approved, is $19,538.44 as listed below. Motion,
Motion.
Second.
discussion?
Thank y'all.
Oh, hold on.
All those in favor say All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 69,
No,
resolution.
we've done that one.
We already did 69, that's right. 70, order considering the resolution from the City of Long Beach seeking the assistance of the Harrison County Board of Supervisors in the widening of South Mitchell Road, inclusive of 350 tons of limestone.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion?
No.
Think you're gonna approve their request?
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
That's
Motion.
usually in a local grid, it says that,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Interlocal, yeah.
Yeah.
Motion carries. 71, order approving sole source letter and authorizing payment of $19,440, invoice number 13867 from Votech Corporation for electronic poll book software support and maintenance approved by Mississippi Secretary of State, payable from the HAVA grant 118-180-544. Motion,
Motion.
Second.
discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 72, order finding that the 2023 assessment rolls have been equalized for the first and second judicial districts and authorizing the clerk of the board to publish the proper notice advising that the assessment rolls are ready for inspection by the public. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second discussion, we're up around 2.5 billion now? Isn't that, or was that the latest? That's not this one, is it?
I'm still working on getting that. I should have that finalized by this afternoon, and I can email y'all a preliminary copy
Yeah,
of
I'm
that.
just curious.
We should be based on where we were last year, and we've had a lot of new growth and new construction.
So, somewhere then around 2.5 billion.
Wow.
Madam President?
Yes.
Just a reminder that we're gonna have a publication newspaper coming on Thursday, Friday for the public to know. So they can file with the Board of Supervisors a claim, to be heard. And the hearing starts on the first Monday in August for the first judicial district and the second Monday in the second judicial district in Biloxi.
And your point is?
Yeah, what is the?
Well, just some
letting us
people,
know that
we're
gonna have hearings.
And we're gonna have hearings and probably budget hearings at the same time.
Probably the same people we did every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, same people
We're
are
protesting against their tax.
But
Oh,
so you're
gotcha,
aware
Tea Party, okay.
that we are
Yeah.
opening for protest.
Yeah.
Okay. I protest taxes. Personally, that's just me speaking. All taxes, I think.
Right, it's actually, yes, that's not the taxes.
Okay, let's see.
72.
72, we voted on 71?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 72, order finding that the
Yeah,
2020.
we're also.
We did 72,
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
73. Order adjudicating approval of an application seeking Mississippi Tidelands Trust Funds Program funding for FY 2025 in the amount of $3 million to be used for the Save Our Sound project. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 74, order adjudicating the filing of applications for the 2025 Tidelands funding for projects listed below. Deadline was July 1st of this year. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 75, order approving the waiver of rental fees required for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to host a public forum to discuss the Forest Heights levee project on July 18th of this year at the Isaiah Frederick Community Center. Motion?
Second. Now the U.S. Army Corps is asking us not to charge them rent.
Yeah.
Am I understanding that right?
Yep.
Why would we do that?
Because it's a public hearing.
Yeah, but they could afford to pay the $250. Pretty sure.
It's a government courtesy from one to another.
What do you think, Mr. Blessy?
Yeah, what do you think?
Get some of our money back.
We just talked about this, and now we're gonna let them use the building for free.
Bottom line, like Connie says, if it's other governmental entities, we generally do. I don't know if it's worth a fight over that.
Beverly's trying to get some of that money back she just spent.
Yeah, that, what?
$250
really pushes a long way.
That's a half an hour. It's 30 minutes.
All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed?
I'm gonna say no. It's the principal.
Principal, Beverly says no.
I'm sorry. Well,
Motion carries. 76, order adjudicating and authorizing expenditures as listed as necessary to advertise and bring into favorable notice the opportunities, possibilities, and resources of Harrison County, including the county logo being displayed, along with link displayed to Harrison County online. Motion?
Madam President?
Yes.
Before we start, maybe take A out, I think that the festival, lesson of the fleet, that's open to the public.
That's
isn't
the
it?
shrimp
Are
festival,
there
yes, sir.
anything
Lesson of the
closed to the
fleet.
public in reference to that?
No, it's all free.
I would ask to remove A for a separate vote.
And E, please.
A and E will be removed.
E?
A and E.
I'm just not
yes.
familiar with it.
What, center stage?
So we'll vote on those separately?
Yeah.
So right now, we're just gonna do B, C, and D. All those in favor say aye.
Okay, I don't need a motion.
I'm sorry. We have a motion to do B, D, and
B, C, and D.
B, C, and D separately.
Wait, which one are we doing?
B, C, and D.
right now.
Motion.
Do
Second.
we have a second?
No, I'm asking for,
Yeah, you want A and E
I'm sorry, I'm
removed.
on my computer, I can't.
No, you're
We're on
fine.
B, C, and D.
Okay, B, C,
So
and D.
now we're voting for
Okay.
B, C, and D.
All right.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
No,
Okay, motion carries. And now A and E.
Well,
I take
separate.
those separately,
gotta
two,
separate.
please.
Oh, do each one. I'm
I'll
sorry.
make a motion for A, which is the lesson of the fleet.
Second.
Shrimp
Second.
festival.
Okay, all those in favor for A, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now E,
I have no idea where this came from. I'm open. but-
yeah, Center Stage is now, unfortunately Gulfport Little Theater shut down. Center Stage is the oldest theater on the coast, and now,
Is it at Edgewater?
yeah, by Eisenhower, Center Stage, it's pretty much the only one left. And they have to get ADA compliant or they'll have to shut down. That's our last place. So that's who that is.
Gotcha.
All right, do we have a motion for E?
Motion.
I'll second it. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed?
no.
Motion carries. 77, order approving installation of streetlights as listed on Walter Smith Road.
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, Mr. Holloman?
I don't have anything unless the board's got any questions.
All right. Mr. McAdams?
No, ma'am, thank you.
Supervisor?
No, ma'am, thank you.
Supervisor Chapman? I have to reappoint John Carter to serve as the Coliseum Commissioner for District 2. I'd like to make a motion to reappoint John.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
It says appointment.
Yeah. Into this.
That's your,
Coliseum Commission.
And then our library commissioner, Dave Vincent, he's also up in 2 weeks. I'd like to consider making a motion to reappoint Dave Vincent to the library.
I'll second. Is he interested?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
you need a motion?
She made a
Oh, I'm
motion.
sorry. Second.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, Supervisor Martin.
Yeah, and mine's more of a question. The American Legion wants to start a chapter in the city of Deifeville and is interested in purchasing the old Deifeville police station. We went out to bid, but the bids were real low, we rejected them. So my question is, how do we go about doing this?
Sorry, say that again. My wife was.
The American
texting me. I
Legion
had to answer it.
is interested
Yeah, that's right.
in purchasing the old Deifeville police station. We'd gone out for bids a few years ago, but they came in low, and we rejected them all. But they recently came across the money and want to start a chapter. What do I need to tell them is the next step in purchasing that building?
They need to do a formal offer. We've already listed it.
Formal offer.
I mean, we've already gone through the process once.
Yeah.
They'll have to look at the statute, make sure we don't have to re-advertise it again. I think once we've already re-advertised, you don't have to, but we've already advertised it once as being surplus property, but I have to verify that.
Okay.
Were they the
Let
low
me
bidder
know
the
about
last
that.
time?
Pardon?
Or is this the low bidder, the same people want to buy it?
No,
Oh.
this is a whole different group.
Just get them to send me what their offer is, and we'll research it, and figure out how, if we can do it to a single person.
It's
The
the
biggest problem is
American
whether or not we have
Legion.
to advertise it or not.
They're starting a whole new post over in that side.
That's exciting.
Just give them an email to me, I'll look at it, and we'll figure out how to do it.
Thank you.
Anything else, Supervisor Martin?
No.
Supervisor Rocco?
Yes, ma'am. We all received a letter from David White, who I'd like to nominate for another 5 years on the hospital board.
I don't think I got that email, and he never called me.
Everybody got one.
I didn't see
It was
it.
a letter. It's a letter.
I don't,
No, I didn't get
I don't
that.
think I got anything.
So he's asking.
Yeah,
I got a
they're
letter.
in your mailboxes.
In physically in our mailbox or in our email
No,
mailbox?
in your mailbox.
In our mailbox.
In the regular mail?
Yes.
But I can
Maybe.
second it. Does he want to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll second it.
I don't know.
Why didn't he call me? Because he's my appointee.
He's
And I-
not your
No.
appointee. He lives in my district.
Oh, I thought he was in my district.
No, he's across the street. Across the street is yours and that one's.
So like 30 feet over.
Yeah.
Then why did he meet with me originally? Why is,
Because he
He
wanted
been
to
the
today,
one.
I guess.
so, well, that's weird.
Okay. Are we good?
We need to
We're gonna
vote.
vote.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Anything else? Who is my person?
We don't have, we only got, what is it, 3 on the hospital? We don't have individuals.
You don't have
One on the, one on the east
Marlon's
and
got
one in
one
the middle
on
and
his-
one over at his side.
Supervisor Ladner.
Yeah, who are the 3 commissioners? Because I really was
Supervisor
under the
Ladner,
impression
explain
that he
her
was
how
mine.
this works, because I don't.
No, there's no individual board appointments
Right.
to the Memorial Hospital Board. Harrison County, we had 3? We had 3.
But I-
Hamilton, Dr.
Carolyn,
former,
You know.
Dr. Hamilton, no.
no, well, I beat dog, I can't think.
It's
of-
Marlon.
Oh, Murtis Frank?
No,
she don't.
We had,
I'm sorry, I
who is the
apologize.
guy that used to be at the port or is at the port?
You're right.
Carlos Bell.
Nick
Retired,
Carlos
you're
Bell
right.
is on there.
Oh,
But
Carlos.
this is somebody that lives in
Is
Marvin's
that in your
district.
district?
Yeah.
What's her name?
Carolyn and Dr.,
Both of them
I
are.
apologize. can't
That's
think
all
of
right.
her
I
name.
can't think
And
of her.
David.
Right,
And
that's
then-
our.
David's
then
on
we-
the
Carlos Bell
We
is
have
in it.
shared
City.
shared
Oh, okay.
appointments with Gulfport.
Right.
Okay.
So Carlos Bell is Gulfport's appointment.
I'm
It's
sorry.
it's kind of a joint thing.
Yeah.
But it's
Dr.
Gulfport's
Carter.
turn. Thank
Dr.
you.
Thad Carter.
Thad
I'm sorry.
Carter,
Dr.
okay.
Thad
Where's he
Carter
live?
are the 3 board of, 3 of our appointments.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Did you get that, Commissioner
Yeah.
Memorial?
Everybody got a letter.
Right. I know it was a little
Check your
confusing.
letters. now.
Anything
Everybody got a
else?
letter.
Yeah, I'll go look at my mailbox. Anything else, Connie?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Sheriff? All right.
Y'all have no idea how good I am.
All right, so anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
Oh, please.
And I'm fine.
I'll make that motion.
I'm fine.
Do we have a second? Say second. You made the motion.
Everybody.
Ronnie.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed?
Sorry.
Motion carries.